It's high spots. Not necessarily, but listen, stop.
Do the high spots with some psychology.
When High Spots came to me and offered me the opportunity to start interviewing people for a,
I wrestled Brody in Japan for an hour, a couple times. I wrestled Brody.
I want to have fun. I still have respect for TNA.
The network is here. I'm checking it out. I'm watching all the goodies. It's up. It's running. It's beautiful.
Here come the Hardy Brothers!
It was me looking myself in the mirror going, you know what?
You never know when another shot like this is going to come along. There'll be another woman along in a minute.
And it's come to this, and here it is tonight.
Hello, welcome to another edition of Developmentally Speaking.
Developmentally challenged. Hey, come on.
That's what you were. I'm your host, Brian Myers. A whole new panel this time. To my left, Mr. Brad Attitude.
Okay.
In the center here, this is going to be a while if you got some time.
Oh, yeah.
The freaking Deacon. Imposter Kane.
I can't last too much longer. You're going to have to get him out.
Justice Dalton.
Oh, boy.
Festus.
Human
Dalton.
Cadillac.
Give me a hand over here.
Festus with no last name. Wait, I know this one. You had a mask gimmick in Developmental. What was that name? Like,
Latham.
Oh, yeah.
Latham.
That cost me $5,000 fucking dollars.
That mask, right?
Latham. Luke
It's not a
Gallows.
developmental story.
Human Cadillac.
Was it
Director of Chaos.
No. Who are you?
Johnny 99.
Johnny 99. Who are you in India? Jebediah.
I say it cash.
Jebediah.
Developmental got me ready to be 100 people.
Jebediah. Springfield.
And now, finally, in his 10th gimmick, it takes people some time. The successful Doc Gallows.
Which combines two of his old ones.
Japanese,
So,
Japanese superstar.
I'm getting ready to change it.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
Too much success.
You heard it here, folks.
Too much success on
Heard it
one.
here first. And last but not least, we have TNA's newest star, Micah, or as he is in my cell phone, Donnie Marlowe.
Yep. Good old Donnie.
Or as I like to call him, T.
What about Camacho?
I guess Camacho,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's it.
That's a lot. Damn, you got a lot of gimmicks too.
You got
We're
a lot of
working on
gimmicks
it.
too. Sorry, Brian Major.
You guys are like,
I thought this was going to be an
you got
intervention
the,
for
you
you.
got the Godfather checking your guys' Wikipedia to see if you
For
fuck.
me.
Oh, there was Agent T. Remember Agent T? With,
That's why we were here.
What was Agent T?
I give it.
with
Secret Service.
yeah, Secret Service.
All right.
That was when I met you.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
You didn't even watch the product. back
sorry,
then.
you're the host.
we got to break the ice here. We can't get into Developmental without talking about my favorite thing, extra work.
Oh man,
Kind of my bag.
There we go. So
you're
hit
an
me.
extra veteran. You should go
let's
first.
Hit me. What
God,
what
what do
were
you
your
wanna know?
experience? Everything. How many times you did?
What was
you
your
done
first-
it?
Me
Can I ask
and
a
Joey
question?
Ryan were going
What was your first time, and what year, and how did you feel? I love these questions.
Yeah. See.
December 2004.
There it is.
Dreamer
Sorry.
was in charge. This is how long ago it was. There's been 14 people since then.
Yeah. I don't really know who's in charge right now.
And man, it's me. How did I feel? Nervous as hell.
Where was it?
Charlotte probably. Charlotte, Greenville, Greensboro, one of those places. I faced Lodi in a dark match.
Holy, like.
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
fucking intense. Your first time.
Signs.
I was nervous about being a cop.
Yeah.
They were looking at him, I guess, and then I was just, of course, like 21 or whatever, and it was actually like probably
Lodi
the
was
last.
getting a look in 04?
Probably the last WWE match I won.
Sorry, Lodi.
Was there.
He probably lives close to you, right?
Yeah, he lives actually in this town.
Okay,
So-
take it back. Loved you.
But yeah, hey, thanks for the match, Lodi. Put me over. You gave me a hell of a DDT. Arn said I should have died.
Really?
But, yeah.
That's cool that you did your first time and you actually did something of like significance. Of
Significance me.
Well, I mean, sometimes you just stand around in a suit and look like an asshole.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, but once you're there for so many times, they can really trust you to take an ass whipping. And I was enveloped in that trust
All right.
later on down the road. But
So what else did that lead to? How many
I
times?
want to hear
about
these matchups.
about
Yeah.
6 years of doing sick act. I mean, I was doing it so much that I almost made a shirt that the back said "Where's catering?"
Yeah.
I feel like with Pro Wrestling Tees at that time, that would have been a hot seller.
Can you rattle off some heat or like some velocity
Ooh.
counters that you had?
Both.
That's the meat and potato.
yeah. Now you're talking about my
Got
career.
any Johnny the Bull Stamboli
That's-
squashes under your belt?
Vito, big Vito.
Ooh, dress, no dress?
Nunzio, no, before FBI.
Ooh, okay.
I was gonna work
Maybe early
I was gonna
06.
work Snitsky. Said I was too tall, which I didn't understand because he was gonna kill me anyway.
He's humongous.
That's how
Lashley in his heyday.
the only time I was an extra was with Zach.
Only time.
Sorry,
Unbelievable.
in the garden.
when he worked
hired first time.
But Zach got
know,
to.
right?
I didn't get to do anything. I just stood around, like I said, like an asshole in a suit. Zach wrestled
now.
Matt Morgan when he debuted the stuttering gimmick. And Dreamer ran up to us when he realized they needed someone. He went and like my hair was spiked just a little bit higher, and he picked Zach because he was short. And that's
You're
it.
too tall, brother.
Yeah, because they want him to look, And I actually do remember now that you said that. I'm pretty sure about this. One of the instructions, like for Zach when he's putting him over, like their initial stare down in the ring was to look past like his hair to make it so it's not even really accurate to where it would be, but he had it,
shit!
and he's just like nervous as hell, like and looking like
Scared to
almost
death
the
looking over
sky,
his head.
Yeah. But that's funny you said that. But that's
the best.
they gotta look out for their talent though.
Of course.
If there's a shorter guy,
and it's actually like a compliment when you're that young that they trust you to not screw up something, not fuck up the match. So the best instruction I ever got was Mark Henry. Arn just like took me in a corner and was like, in the nicest way that you could possibly do this, go, listen, it's going to be a minute and a half, kid. You're going to get 0 offense. Just want you to know we're putting over Mark Strong. And I was like, he was in a feud with The Undertaker. I was like,
of course.
I understand I'm not going to get an elbow.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But if you want me to run in on that Taker match.
And then he proceeded to torture me.
How many times did the human Cadillac show up?
So, I got Dreamer and Johnny Ace's cell phone numbers.
How did
First,
that happen?
I got them.
Wait, how did that happen?
From somebody on an independent down here in North Carolina, and then I was actually on the $1 Million rendition of Tough Enough.
Oh,
Was that that's the first thing you ever did?
It's the first thing I ever did. So I sent the video, and I was like 20. And anyone who digs up that
That's
DVD,
when your ass falls
if
out.
you look on the bloopers section, you'll see
I
a
used to have it on my cell phone
young
clip.
Drew Hankinson go take off to hit the ropes, and he's never been in a ring bigger than 16 feet, and he turns to grab that rope, and
It ain't there.
folks, there's no rope. There's no rope. What there is a head first, prematurely balding young man doing a tope into the sand in front of Johnny Ace and looking up like this. Oh boy.
I'm a creep and I have that DVD, and when this gets close to coming out, I'm gonna put it on Instagram. So, everybody, so look out for that.
Well,
I will,
thanks.
I promise
11
you.
years later, I'm still fucking reaping those rewards.
doing a tope too.
Yeah, well,
Highly impressive.
Didn't you army
if
crawl?
you're gonna watch it, maybe not a tope.
Didn't you army crawl in the sand?
That was my introduction to Build a Mod. So the first day, me always getting in great shape. But I did for this because young man wanted to live his dreams. So I was training and squatting and doing all the things I was reading all these highfalutin pro wrestlers were doing to be ready. So the first day I smoked this obstacle course. I actually had one of the better times and stuff. So I was like, I'm getting a fucking job.
How old are you?
I'm 20. Wow. There's
31 years ago.
There's no that was. It was actually in 1984. So the second day, it didn't happen for me. I got out there in the sand, and my legs weren't running fast, and I don't know what happened. I fell to the wayside.
0 to 0.
So I was just like, I was climbing the wall, and I fucking fell off. Like, it was going terrible. So, like, the last part of it is, like, 6 inches off the ground. There's, like, the army netting, and you have to army crawl. So, like, to make things worse, like, I've already fallen out of the ring. Like, I already fell off the wall. Well, the drawstring in my shorts busted. Or wasn't tied properly or something. So I go into my army crawl, and as I'm crawling, Bill DeMont's leaning down, going, "Are you gonna fucking quit on me?" And I'm like, "Of course I'm not gonna quit on you. I'm here to be a fucking WWE superstar, son." As I'm crying. So I'm pulling myself through the thing, and my fucking shorts start coming down. Now we're shirtless, okay?
Yeah.
We're shirtless because I got to check the bods on all these handsome young men. So I'm crawling. My shorts keep coming down. I keep reaching for them. I still have the same problem when I wrestle. I just have this thing.
You adjust your waist.
Yeah, like Frankie Chiazzo, if you're watching. You're terrible at that.
All you Chiazzo fans out there.
All you Chiazzo fans, King of Florida. So anyway, he goes, "Stop pulling your fucking shorts up," and I'm like, so I keep crawling. Next thing you know, I'm nude. So you get to the end of it, and you got to do like 25 push-ups, and that's like the throw-up thing because you're completely blown up. So I just remember
this is on a beach in front of everyone too, right?
Oh yeah, this is on Venice Beach.
It's on a DVD.
With television cameras rolling.
I don't know if this is on DVD.
They couldn't even put this on the DVD because it's too fucking graphic. So I'm doing the push-ups, right? I'm doing the push-ups, and like blown up, sweaty,
that sounds hot.
fucking shriveled as hell. If my fucking dicky dude's just going into the sand.
Is it going in
I
the
remember
sand?
thinking like I'm going. Well, you had to go all the way down. Demont's not fucking letting you do any brotherly push-ups. There's no fist in the fucking deal. So I'm just thinking like, not only is this the most like my dream is ruined, but I'm gonna have sand in my piss hole for who knows how long. And it was, and he was going, yeah, push-ups. And I'm like,
So Kevin Dunn saw your dick is what we're getting at.
oh yeah, right out of the gate. early cock viewing on me from Dunn.
So then the contract was offered, obviously.
No, it wasn't. But that was just interesting too
You
because
and Big John Stud's kid?
sidebar, yeah, this was a phenomenal class. We had Daniel Pewter, we had the Boogeyman, who came up in front of everybody, and they were so impressed with him. He was so jacked. He smoked the obstacle course.
Said he was 30.
Said he was 35, he was 45, or whatever the fuck it was. But I think the low light of the day was my
They probably checked you just like
they
just
said,
like Boogeyman.
sir, you're not 20, you're 50. And I said, maybe.
Wait,
That was
you're bald head at this point, right?
Well, it was shaved though, so I didn't have like I didn't have the Festus fucking creeper
I had to put you on the
fucking.
spot with the history of the skullet and Johnny Ace.
Oh
and the
yeah,
fascination.
that's yeah.
I love it. Okay,
So
so
anyway, I got
this
the business
leads
cards
to-
again. So every week I'm sending my fucking pro wrestling matches in and calling Dreamer and Johnny Ace, and that I figured out later, like they would just answer because like what a rib, like this dumb 20-year-old kid. I call me like I'm 6'7", I should definitely be probably the champion, you know, like. And Dreamer would just be like, I couldn't believe you kept calling me saying these things, like. But I would call him every week.
Wait, you weren't
'Cause
kidding? You were
my
being
dad was like,
serious?
the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You
Sorry.
fucking gave up college. You're going to get this job. I'm like, yes, I am. So then the next thing, there was a house show in Frederick, Maryland. So he drove down there with me. I dressed up in a suit and tie. And we were waiting by the gate. Do you know this story?
I don't think so.
And like that was Biz Kaz was popular. So like Batista walked in, I remember, in a suit. And then Stevie Richards walked in a golf shirt, like right behind him. And I was like, I can't go in there. My dad's like, yes, you can. It wasn't WWE security. It was just some dumb like lady. Like,
Yeah.
and he goes, all right, see you later. And he shoved me. And I went past the security lady. And he goes, go. And I was like, so I was just walking into this house show just to...
Not booked?
Yeah, just with a little fucking suitcase with my DVD in it.
Oh my goodness.
Into a house show, dude. So I walked in. I don't know where to go. And like Batista turns around and he goes, can I help you? And I was like, I got to find Arn Anderson. Because I just knew he was an agent. So I fucking just guesswork.
He didn't go to every show. He was there?
He was there.
That's a lucky.
Wow.
But so listen,
right? That's a lucky.
I don't know where to go.
And Batista didn't
Right?
stop you right
So
there?
I see it says trainer. I'm like thinking like, who's gonna not throw me out first? Maybe the trainer's nice. Maybe he'll feel bad for me. So I fucking scamper in. There's no one in there. I'm like, oh, okay, let me fucking regroup here because it's
Holy
scary as shit.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Scary hearing this story.
And then fucking,
Yeah.
and then Rodney Mack comes in. And he starts taping up, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Not much. How about you?" And he's like, "About to go to work." And I'm like, "Sweet, sweet." I'm like, Arn Anderson around here? He's like, "Yeah, he's the agent for the show." I'm like, "Yeah, I got to get him this package." And he's like, "What is it?" I'm like, "It's my tape. I want to be wrestling here with you guys." And he was like, let me ask somebody for you. So he obviously went out to be like, get this fucking Mark out of here, which we all would have done. And then Tim White came in.
He's a sweetheart, though.
It was the man. He was so
Yes.
nice to me. And I said, sir, I know I'm not supposed to be back here. I'm 20. My dream's to be a pro wrestler. I've been doing independence for 3 years. Like, here's my tape. Can we get it to Arn Anderson? He's like, hold on. And he brought Arn in. And, like, now that I know Arn, I love it. But Arn was like this. Can I help you? And I was like, fucking Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
I got this tape here of man wrestling, and I wanted to give it to you. Maybe you could show it to Mr. Dan. I don't know. And Arn's like, I'll make sure it gets into proper hands. And he fucking storms out. And then Tim White's like, you can't be back here. He's like, well, let me give you some tickets. To someone with you. I was like, my father's outside. He's like, it took balls to come in here. So they gave us 2 tickets, and
That's
then we
an
watched
awesome
the show.
story.
Fucking-
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then I continued my calling, and I think they gave me a job, so I would shut up and they could fire me.
Did you ever ask Arn or Timmy, like when you got to know them? Like,
No.
You never asked?
Did he just
Never.
throw it in the trash?
Huh?
I would
I
have.
would've
Right?
asked,
At
Was
some
it a
point, I would have been
VHS
like,
Yeah, I just never did. I don't know.
VHS tape?
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, that's how you get in.
Okay,
That's
so
that right there.
Don't do that.
Kids,
So, well,
What's
yeah,
awesome
if
is
you're
your
6'7",
dad-
just walk around back.
your dad pushed you in there, man.
just put it in.
I know. My
luxury.
dad was like, "You're
Go,
because he knew
man.
nothing about wrestling. He's like, I'm a businessman. That's how you do business. I'm like,
Right.
this isn't how they do business.
Get it.
My favorite shit is at his house to this day. There's a box of business cards, and they say like Drew Hankinson, professional wrestler,
When I quit-
with his parents' phone number.
parents' home phone number, he doesn't have a
business
cell
cards that he was supposed to hand out and use. It. There's like maybe 20 missing from this fucking.
My dad's like, you're gonna fucking quit college. You're gonna do this like a real business. None of this playing around shit. Yeah, we did.
So when do you finally an extra?
Okay, so then I finally get a call to be. This is funny. My life is funny.
Yeah,
I get a call from Dreamer, and like I'm driving in my Hyundai Accent to my waitressing job at Ponderosa.
Waitressing
Yeah, I was a waitress, not a waiter. And, I wore a wig and lipstick. It was awesome. And he's like, Drew Hankinson. I'm like, yes, Mr. Dreamer. And I remember I always called him Mr. Dreamer. And I remember my dad being like, it's a fake fucking name. You don't call him Mr. Dreamer. I'm like, well, what are you going to call him?
Lachlan?
You didn't tell me his real name just because I read it on fucking Wikipedia.
Defame you the whole time.
You know what I mean?
Actually, in wrestling, if you pull out the real name ski, like...
Yeah, you look like an idiot.
You revert, it's reverse of what you're trying to accomplish. Like, anyone called Punk Phil, I would be like, ooh, this guy sucks.
Yeah. But anyway, so nice name drop, Ski, by the way. But anyway.
My friend CM Punk, I got to pick that back up, that name I just dropped.
Put it in your pocket, son.
Yeah, I got it.
He made me sweaty because I got so nervous when he said that.
That last story made me nervous.
Yeah, I know.
That was nerve-wracking.
But anyway, Dreamer calls me, and he's like, Drew Hankinson, I've been trying to book you as an extra for months. And I went, what? You have? And he goes, you don't have a fucking answering machine. And I was like, and like a few months before that, my dad's like, I'm tired of these goddamn telemarketers. We're getting rid of the answers. So I was like, if it wasn't for my dad, I would already be the Intercontinental Champion by now.
At least.
For sure. Because you don't know. I'm just like, I'm going to skate right in there.
Back then, yeah.
Be easy.
Holy shit.
So then I got booked to be an extra, and the first time I went to Baltimore, and I remember, like, I got there, like, you know, I'm a mark, of course. And I get there at, like, fucking, I don't know, you say you're supposed to be there at 1. I'm there at, like, 10. It's like waiting outside, like, with the crew guys carrying shit in, like, what's up, guys? I'm here for the show. And they're like, you know, so, like, waiting for hours and hours. And then, like, before the meeting, because we know now they have the production meeting and shit, I didn't know all that. Like, Hunter, Vince, and Stephanie walked in. And I was, like, up, like, watching the guys put the ring up, and they were, like, maybe, like, 20 yards behind me. And I remember I turned around, I was just, like, stuck in this, like, I didn't know what to do, because I know in wrestling you're supposed to go introduce yourselves to everybody. And they were just looking at me, like, I could tell they were talking about me, but I didn't know if it was bad or good. And I was, like, literally could have shit in my own pants.
Yeah.
Like,
pointing and laughing, that's good.
It was like a point and laugh kind of thing.
At least they saw you.
Yeah. And this was after Johnny... So anyway, at Tough Enough, Johnny Ace had told me to start growing my hair because eventually it would look.
This is what I wanted to get out. This is my favorite.
So my fucking hair has grown in by this Baltimore Raw taping or whatever. So then finally, like, I made so many mistakes that day. Like, I don't know. Like, I walk right into male talent, set my shit down, and I don't know you're supposed to go in the extras locker room. Bob Holly's like.
What's the same thing happened to me?
Bob Holly's like, which I love Bob Holly now, but, you know, he was an intimidating dude, but I was just like, I'm a big wrestler too. Hey, how you doing, Bob Holly? You know what I mean? Set my bag down on a bench, you know, like, and we know now you would be like, who's this motherfucking Mark? They're all thinking that. Then he goes, you can't dress on this side. Everything on this side is the whole side of the room. All this is my side. And I went, okay, Mr. Holly, I'll just go over on this side. Fucking so awkward. So I walk out and I finally see Johnny Ace. He's the guy I'm looking for. Hey, John, great to see you. And I just remember he went, that hair's coming in real nice. He's just literally going around here like George Costanza did. I was like, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm getting ribbed, you know, really.
But you were praying that he hated it and you could.
Right, I'm thinking like he's going to go, the hair sucks. I told him it wasn't going to grow back in.
Yeah.
And then that was his response to me. Hair's really coming in nice. Hair's really coming in nice, kid. And I was just like, and I had to scull it for what? I don't know, 4 more years.
Man, years. When you're in your early 20s.
5 years, yeah. So that was my first one. Then the second day I got to be a cop and do the medal ceremony with Kurt Angle.
Oh, when that was going on, when he was challenging people?
And that was it for me.
What year was that?
That was 04. Yeah.
At the same time.
It was like late 04. Yeah, because I remember that Phil Brown had a dark match with Scotty Matthews the same day.
Huh.
So they were, you know, Carolina brothers. Just, you know, we were Carolining up the
Am I
circuit
supposed to
back
do
then.
this?
Yeah, so we all do it now. I thought of it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, completely.
I brought it into wrestling.
Completely came up with it, yeah.
T, were you ever an extra? I don't know if being second generation, you had a little different story.
Straight to the top.
Nah, I was like this close. It was WrestleMania 24. I almost got to be an extra for Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I was a druid, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, I almost
You actually had a big actual spot in it.
I was in the main event. We don't got to
Yeah,
talk
that's
about
fine. I mean, I was kind of.
What Mania was that?
24 Orlando.
Citrus Bowl.
Oh, I had a big spot with Snoop Dogg. I remember actually.
Full pre-tape ski with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, man, everyone had a piece of that.
We all had that action. Fucking
So
druid, main event.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be one of his bodyguards. I got a nice sweatshirt out of it. It said Floyd Money Mayweather.
There you go.
That deal.
Charles the Hammer Evans, remember? He
He's
was
in
in
that.
that seg.
Yeah. Him and Tarver.
Tarver's in that.
Yeah,
too.
Tarver.
And then who's there was another kickboxing K1 fighter in that.
It was
one.
Batista's friend.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forget what his name was.
But he's
but
like trainer buddy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
That's cool.
They actually got the spot. And
Didn't
I
ask
just got
us.
the free.
You just got to
Like,
pay
So
that.
what,
Yeah,
what
didn't
were
ask
you
us to
you
do
weren't
it.
signed
done
at
it.
this time, right?
No,
So what were you
I
doing
was
there?
actually it was my brother and I. We were over at 3D Academy.
Okay.
And Dreamer had stopped by, and Dreamer had asked Bubba like a week or two before if he had anybody that could fill that spot in, and he said he did, and it was just me out of the school. And Dreamer came in, pulled me aside, told me what the spot was, what the deal was, and I was like, sweet. Like you, I came to WrestleMania early.
Yeah, like, what do you, that's
Walk
crazy.
right into WrestleMania. Hey guys.
I need you for extra work at WrestleMania.
Man, I pulled up right into the
you
back of
handle
the
that.
stadium, and I'm just like, I pull up and I tell them what I'm doing there, and they're like, oh yeah, just
Yeah, but you were allowed to come in the stadium.
Yeah, you
There's
were
a
welcome.
difference. You weren't pushed by your dad.
You walked in and went, this is WrestleMania. What a piece of shit.
But I knew what I was getting into. I mean, we grew up in Central Florida, so I knew the Citrus Bowl was kind of shitty. But
Yeah.
It's a terrible
Hey, now
neighborhood,
it's
right?
now it's beautiful.
oh no, they amped it up, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Someone told me that Mania like made no money because WWE's put
They
so
spent
much
they
money
spent $1
into
million
it to make it
dollars.
look
Yeah.
presentable for that one show. And
Yeah.
it's kind of
Like,
like,
you even
evened
know-
itself out.
Jericho talks about it too, because he knew what it looked like, and he said they put up palm trees. They just
I
set
mean,
up
it's
was
visually
gorgeous.
that
Visually,
show
it
is
looks
beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah, you
It's
can't
cool
tell
shit.
that like
Yeah, you
inside
can't
the
tell,
stadium's
yeah.
like. I just mean outside the stadium is in like a shitty neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
Well, like half, yeah. Like if you look at it, like behind the stadium, it's bad, and then like in front of the stadium, that's all of downtown, so it looks good. That whole city thing.
Yeah.
Here's a good side.
Hey, you want an
Here's a
Easter
bad
egg?
side.
I was double booked.
An Easter egg.
I was supposed to be Melina's photographer there too. Supposed to get double pay ski.
I know. Steve
happened?
Brington did that.
But I had I had too bright of blonde hair, and Ace was like, "It's a gimmick. You can't do it." So Cabana and Seidel,
Oh,
they were shooting the
okay.
pics,
A little
which-
Easter egg
which,
skate.
which was a backwards.
Pull out the 24
which was-
DVDs, kids.
Which was a backwards crawl for like 75 yards.
That sounds
Yeah,
terrible.
that is
camera.
true. That
Cabana
was-
had to be
It
hating
was
that.
the
a
worst.
little tough on the glutes.
It was the worst.
So you're there and it just leads to nothing. Like
Yeah, like so I just went back. I went. Who's that?
Like there's no way you're making connections that day or talking.
Nah,
like,
there's nothing.
Like, oh, Johnny H, you haven't been? Oh, no, it's fucking WrestleMania. Like
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Anyway, I got
didn't
this
see
idea.
anybody. The only person I talked to was Tim White.
He's a
That's
sweetheart.
what I'm
Like I
saying.
said,
Yeah,
he's
such
the
a
man.
good
He
guy.
goes, because he's that Dreamer goes, I guess they're not going to use you, but you still get paid. I said, sweet.
Yeah.
So I was go see
Yeah.
Tim.
Can't be that.
And I saw Tim, and I look forward to sitting down with Tim White, because he was telling me, he's like, oh, you're Haku's son? Man, I got some stories for you, but your dad won't let me tell you. And I was like, my dad's not here, sir, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is you and me. You're going to give
awesome.
it up?
Just tell me Andre stories for 5 hours. That'll be fine.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
But one day, hopefully, I get to talk to Tim. And just
All right,
hear
back
those
around the horn.
I'll be the first.
Have you told your
Yeah.
extra story?
I kind of
Only one time.
I told
Oh,
him on the last DVD.
he's the host.
Oh, I went once.
Okay,
I
sorry.
went once and got a job. So
I kind of stumbled upon it.
Okay.
It was at the Garden, double show,
Oh.
SmackDown and Raw. And Ryder worked Morgan. I didn't do anything, but I got paid. I you know what my favorite part
And
of the whole day?
hired.
I got
Yeah.
no, I didn't get hired that day. It was like over a year
a
later.
week later.
They were like, you guys look like
It's
brothers.
been a
Hired
rigorous
both.
year and 2 months in the indie scene before I got signed. Okay.
God bless you for
yeah.
doing such hard things.
Your heart.
He went through 8 gimmicks.
I was the
before
gristle age
he-
of 20 when they signed me up, but
Fucking A.
the coolest thing for that day for me was that I got to meet Eddie Guerrero and like shake his hand one
Yeah.
and only time. So that's my favorite memory of the whole thing. Back around the horn, let's get into how you finally get signed. Tell us that story.
Man.
How did that come about? I mean, if you're doing extra work all this time, what was different? What happened?
For, I don't know. I literally did extra work from December of 04 to 07, middle of 07, August, and it was.
I remember I met you as an extra for sure. I
Oh,
remember it.
sure.
'Cause
Everybody out there has
he
met me
knew,
as an
he
extra.
knew you, whatever. That's my buddy Brad. I just remember.
I'm such a good guy.
Just
I'm
a
always,
brother. I just remember, sitting in the stands, bullshitting, drinking coffee, and
Me and
that's my buddy
Fert,
Brad.
which was key, being in the stands, also extra work. In the stands on your phone, waiting for the ring to be put up, was a key time. To where you didn't want to mess anything up. You didn't want to go to catering too soon.
No,
You didn't-
yeah,
There's a lot of
It's kind
stuff.
of like I gotta do some hiding.
You had to tiptoe. You had to keep your suit on, but then if you didn't have your workout clothes at a certain time, you were also.
Ryder and I used to get so nervous about the handshakes and to get everyone. We would just pretend to be like posted up somewhere in the hallway and just but we were there on purpose and just banging out shakes because we're like, and we're having a mental list of everyone, just like, and it was like so fake.
Did I get Elijah Burke?
Seriously,
Did I get seamstress?
Like we wouldn't eat or do nothing until we got all that done, and then like it was just that's how nervous we were. It was stupid.
Man, trainers,
that's how it is. Though,
everybody.
when you first go there. I don't know if it still is now, but
I have no idea. But yeah, I did. I'll never forget this. The Monday I did was Highlanders. Me and another guy teamed against the Highlanders. Great guys. Heck of a match. And I got to give prop. Mr. Kennedy was the guy that actually, like, I was friends with Shane, Matt, all the North Carolina guys. Picked up a couple of friendships on the way, but I didn't really know Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Anderson now. But he went out. Yeah, he went out on a limb and just goes, "Man, why aren't you hired?" And I didn't even think about it. And I was like, "Fuck, I don't know." And he was like, "Let me go get Ace." And I was like, "Holy shit!" And I just came back from a match wearing probably a cheap ass suit or something, and I was like, "What's going on?" So he gets Ace. We go in a room, and it's in the middle of Raw, and Ace is like, "What can you do?" And this was a question I'd never been asked before. "What can you do to make me money?" And I was like, "Fuck."
I can fuck.
I was like, I've never thought of that. He was like, I had long hair, piercings, all sorts of shit, and he was like, I have Matt and Jeff, I have Punk. He was like, "Why do I need you?" And I was like, "That's a good question." He was like, "It's not a fair question to answer now." He was like, "Think about it, tell me tomorrow." So on that drive to SmackDown, wherever it was, I don't know, I ended up working Mark Henry, like you said. Hell of a 90-second match. Mark was the nicest guy ever. Said he put in a good word. But I had shaved my beard, taken out all my piercings, which I never put back in to this day, other than these two. Hey, come on, you had to keep these. I just had
Prince Albert.
I just had another one, and I had the old nice Metallica LeBray.
Oh, you did have that, yeah.
Yeah, back before it was cool. Now it's completely played out. But I'd sat and wait out in front of his office forever and could barely get to me. He got to me like at 11:30 on his way to the car. And I came up with the campus legend character just in the car. I love drinking, obviously. I was in college about 1 million times.
Me too.
So it was kind of, a real character to me. So I was like, this is this guy that's kind of a Van Wilder before there was a Van Wilder. But I came up with it, and he was like, "How's that different from Miz?" And I was like, "Well, Miz is kind of just, I don't know. He's just a party guy, and doesn't really have a collegiate affiliation. Yeah, he's real world, he's reality. Yeah. It's a whole different ball game." So I'd actually kind of sold him on it, and he said, "Just go back, make me like, I guess pictures, a bio, all sorts of stuff, and send it to me." So I went back. I completely shaved my head, like had the frat boy spikes, wore a visor, went the whole nine with it, and took pictures, came up with a new character name, and like filled out like a two sheet thing. Sent it to him, and he called me back for a tryout. This was just when they went to Florida, just when they went to Tampa. So I'd gotten a tryout, and you want to go through the entire process and me get signed?
It's a journey. It's a story.
Oh, it was a journey. Let's buckle in here.
Let's listen to the journey while we go on it.
It gets kind of emotional.
You need another beer for that?
So yeah, I do. If we could beer ski me.
Can we beer up?
So I do a tryout, awesome. Johnny Curtis, one of our friends.
Yeah,
I do the first match with him, which was, it was okay. I mean, he did everything he could to do it, but it was him in a role as a heel, I think, where he wasn't.
He was great at this time.
He wasn't familiar with it at that time, so it didn't come across. And Kern, who was awesome. I have nothing bad to say about Kern, Dr. Tom, any of those guys down there. Kern was like, "We'll do another one just in case tomorrow." They didn't tell me who I was working until that day, but I ended up working Mondo, who's I knew him back from the old Bernard days. But we did a heck of a match.
That's another day.
That's a whole nother shoot. That's a whole nother ball game.
Maybe a high spots documentary.
That's a shoot, hoot.
But we didn't do any spots. It was a freaking victory roll for a finish, and I remember it just because he got everybody around the ring to just beat on the mat and stuff like that. And he was like, right before we started the match, Kern was like, "Hey, don't stress it. Just your whole life is in this one match." I was like,
they got a fun way of putting it.
I was like, "Sick, Skinner. We'll just get on this." And I guess
saying that on top of which we can all attest to, like the no audience match is probably the worst thing.
The worst
it's a staple of developmental and being green, and like just it's something you have to do.
It's a staple of getting called up too. I don't want to. He's got a great finish.
I know I'm gonna let him continue, but I just want everyone to really soak that in. That like having a match.
Arena.
When you got the Undertaker and Triple H, and you're 21, and you're like, and there's no sound, and they're all like this.
When you're
everyone you've ever dreamed of becoming is just like this.
But having a match in front of no one is nerve-wracking, and then it's not only no one; it's your peers who are judging you on a professional level instead of a fan. Just that was a cool move. No, these people are judging you.
It's not fans clapping; it's guys going.
This guy's footwork.
Either I'll steal that or that sucks.
Exactly. And saying it to amongst each other and laughing.
So you can hear it while you're being covered. Oh, okay, that move's gone.
Okay, thanks, guys.
But yeah, so that was the tryout. I felt like I did everything I could. Of course, this was like not the Performance Center. This was like a Sam's Club warehouse.
Yeah,
this
is
the
pretty,
sweatiest,
nice building, right?
Sweatiest
worse than
staff
Sam's Club
infection.
warehouse.
Man. He knows it was just 4 rings, and it was just the hottest place in the world.
This is before the Dale Mabry.
This was Del Mabry.
This is Del Mabry, but before I got there, before they had a running toilet. Before
yeah, because they had bought out that other side of the building and made it an actual nice place. This was when there were still cans of like tomato sauce, like right beside the ring.
It hadn't been cleared out.
If you took a nice, which nobody did, but nice over the top bump into the tomatoes.
Jesus.
But yeah, I just remember going in that like week. I had moved to Florida to do this. Like, just when I felt I got the tryout, I was already kind of on my way to making that step because I figured, what the hell, I'm not gonna. You got to go for it. At that time, I was 24. Oh. You're a good man.
I bought you that.
Good thing we just wrestled.
Bought him right at the road. And I gotta quicken this up. We got a million stories from you, probably.
No. This is a great story.
Take your time.
And I didn't hear anything from anybody for like a week and a half, and it scared the absolute shit out of me.
So you went home.
Yeah, but I had moved to Florida at that time, but I was still working at like Busch Gardens, being a fucking ghost. In the Howl of Scream, like just doing this.
That sounds horrible.
One of the better jobs.
A waitress sounded a lot worse.
Yeah, top 5 jobs I've ever had in my life, but still. And finally, I just called him, and I was like, man, I just want to hear something one way or the other. And I just called Ty Bailey, which is a whole nother thing if we want to get into that.
Of course.
Which I'm sure we will.
He's gone. We can.
Yeah.
We could put him 6 feet.
I don't really.
I
don't really have a lot bad to say about people.
Don't either.
But I've got something for him.
Useless side though.
Yeah. But I called him and I was like, hey man, this is Brad. Like, I had a tryout like last week. I just wanted to know. He's like, oh yeah, I forgot to call you. We're gonna give you a deal. And I was just like,
what the fuck?
What I just said?
I just threw my fucking phone down and I was like, and my fucking head exploded.
Yeah.
And I was like, what I would work 7 years for. It was like my dream.
Your dream, yeah.
And I didn't tell anybody, obviously, because you don't do that.
Right.
You wait till the ink dries, and he was like, the contract's in the mail, blah, blah, blah. This was Wednesday. This was October 23rd, 2007. The reason I know this is because the very next day, October 24th, 2007, I got a call that my mother had been killed in a car accident. And a lot of people don't know that, and I don't ever try to make that a big deal. And sorry that we just got emotional with that, but I never got a chance to tell anybody. I never got a chance to tell her.
Man.
I called the office. The contract was in the mail. I ended up going back to North Carolina for a week, obviously, and stuff like that. And by the time I got back, I had a notice that my contract, or whatever was delivered, was going to be sent back to return to sender if I didn't get it within the day. And I was like, that would be the worst thing to get my contract sent back and then be like, oh, he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And so that was like.
And you never contact the office to give them a heads up or anything?
I did once I got back to Florida. I was like, hey man, I just want you to know this is why it's been taking so long. I got my contract. I read every bit of it. At that point, it was kind of like my saving, getting out of that. Like, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, my dream, and then the worst thing the very next day.
Yeah, that's absolutely wild.
So it was pretty ridiculous, but yeah. So tell us about you, buddy.
No, I'm good.
In my head, I don't know. I have no details about how you got hired, officially.
Oh, well, I just remember that I was sending my matches every week and calling and bothering Johnny and Tommy every week. And I figured out if you called, because Wednesday, I planned it, I meticulously planned this. I knew Wednesday they'd get back from
Right,
TV.
yep.
Yeah, that's smart.
But it was a bad day to call because everyone was getting settled back in. Some people
Yeah.
didn't come in the office always. So like Thursday was prime spot because it was
Yep.
before they had to worry about the live
Friday
events.
was too, yeah. live
Friday
event
was
stuff,
they're not going to
so.
get back to you. So every Thursday was my day, and I would call Johnny's office, leave a message. If I didn't get him, I'd call his cell. Sometimes he would answer. Same with Tommy, and I had just worked C.W. Anderson and Lodi.
Hell of a
Not
brother.
Lodi, not Lodi. C.W. Anderson and Toad
Mm.
in Butner, North Carolina.
Way back.
For Count Grog, I believe. And I was like, this
Had
is
to be good.
this is some of my best shit.
Like the office needs to see this.
Real character
My,
driven.
my tag team partner was Spanky, not Brian Kendrick, but our Spanky.
Spank, I believe.
Spank.
No
yeah.
why.
Oh, okay.
Gimmick infringement.
All right. But I just remember thinking, like, I took this sweet double flapjack. This is the bump that's getting my job for sure. And it
Did you send that?
Fuck yeah.
A tag team match.
Oh, I said
VA?
every match I had. I said Battle Royals, dude.
That's
I
not
did
I
not know.
always heard no, never send no DQs, never send tags.
I'm the king of the garbage indies before I got signed. I didn't know these rules, man.
All VHS too, huh?
all
Fuck
VHS tape.
yeah. I would be like, let's get a promo on here, guys.
I think-
WWE, it's
yeah.
me, Dorian DeVille. Anyway, you know what I mean? Like, that's what
I think everybody was
Yeah.
sending VHS back then. We
Of
weren't,
course,
yeah.
what are you talking about?
It was like a highlight tape with fucking Linkin
Yeah.
Park playing in the background.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But anyway, I remember like I had been working at I had horrible jobs when I was trying to make it
Waitressing.
wrestling. First I was a fence builder when I moved to New Jersey because I knew the Northeast indie scene was
Fence
hot.
builder.
Yeah, but it was
Like,
16-hour
Honky Tonk Man
days.
would describe a fence builder.
No, there were no rats involved yet. Yeah,
Building fucking fences around the
yeah,
rats.
fucking fence builder. So then anyway, I worked for Southern States, which is a feed company, and I was the corn boy.
Oh, yeah.
I had to load the 100-pound bags of corn all day. That sucked.
It's a tough gig.
So I got my waitressing job, and I was doing that, and I remember.
Which is really what I see you as.
Right. So I was driving. I remember I was driving on Interstate 68 up to LaVale, Maryland, to waitress, and the phone rang. It was 203, and you know that 203 can be real bad or real good.
To this day, I'm not even there if I get a 203. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, you look at
It's
your
not
phone,
going to be
sit there,
bad.
like, what's
It's
going
not
on?
going to be bad though.
It can't
Like,
be bad
if they-
yet. But I'm just like,
Once you get hired,
So I
203 is
go,
one of the worst calls.
hello,
you
and
can ever
Dreamer's
get.
like, hello, Drew Hankinson, and that dry,
That
lovely Dreamer
Dreamer
voice
voice,
that
yeah.
we all know and love, and
Hello.
he goes, well, I have good news for you. We want to offer you a deal to come to our new developmental territory, Deep South Wrestling. It's not a lot of money, and as he was saying it's not a lot of money, I went onto the side of the road, and I remember I got the car into neutral, and I pulled the fucking brake, because, you know, I didn't have a nice car, of course. And I was like,
Put the beer cans on the side.
and he goes, so we're going to offer you a contract. And I remember I put the phone down and just exploded into fucking tears. Just
Holy
like,
shit.
and I was like, yeah, that sounds great. Thanks. What do I need to, just let me know what I need to do. And like he's explaining it, I'm going. And then the next thing I remember was like I got myself together and I was so happy and I drove to the next exit and turned around and blew off fucking waitressing.
I mean,
Never to waitress again.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, I'm a fucking WWF
Fuck
wrestler
you,
now.
Tanya.
what was it? Five.
bust
was,
it-
Aunt Linda, suck it. No more waitressing.
What's your own
it,
tables?
was it 500 a week?
It's $500 a week. Yeah.
But he's saying it's not a lot of money, but to you, it's.
Well, I'm living with my mom and dad, being a
When
waitress.
he told me I was getting 500 a week,
Either way.
I thought I was.
Well,
a
then
king.
they were like,
I
you
thought
know,
I was-
and they explained. He was like, "Listen, I don't know what you're doing for a living right now. I didn't want to tell him I'm living at mom's again." So he's like, "But you know, the checks are gonna start like once they got my." So I was basically gonna start getting paid in like 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm gonna be rich, and I'm sure like soon after that they'll put me on like $250 grand a year. So I really don't need to
never
ever
even
work.
thought about like
again.
what could be possible because the 500 to me was I was a caddy. It was my only other job I ever had besides pro wrestling.
That was my
To
first
this
thing
day.
I ever did for money
But
was
I hated
caddy.
it so much. I would go. I'd do one loop and I'd make like $100. And
Yeah.
I'd calculate. Okay, like tickets to Nitro. I'd like, and I wouldn't go back until I needed money because like I had no work ethic whatsoever. I hated it. You know. So when he told me 500 a week, I was like, holy shit.
Oh man,
You know?
I should start looking into houses.
Yeah. Not to mention to wrestle for your
Yeah.
job.
Right. Yeah. It's like, come on.
That was the thing too, because you're like, well, I don't have to work anymore. Because like to people like us who loved it, like it's not. I was like,
It's not work.
fuck.
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't ever. I'll probably have like a 20-year contract, be the champion.
Definitely.
All these things
At
are
least
going.
10 of those.
Like on my way home, I'm just imagining myself like
Just practicing your whole
probably
face
Shawn
speech.
Michaels first, you know.
Yeah.
And then I remember being like, we had to report in like
What year was this?
05.
So this was before.
I got hired March.
You had to fly to New York to take a bunch of tests before that.
Oh, yeah, long before.
Yeah,
that.
long before.
Yeah.
I have a little backstory.
Yeah.
I got hired March 18th, 2005. My son was born March 18th, 2007, so I always remember the date. And I just...
It's the only date you ever remember.
I know. Except for my bookings. But
That's not true. We write them down.
Yeah, we do. So I went home and like knew I never had to work again. So it was basically like
Ever.
It was basically like hitting the lottery.
Yeah.
You know? And we had
He's so serious
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this.
So, I haven't worked since at all.
That's true.
Even in my matches. So we were supposed to be there by like, say it was May 1st or whatever, but I was like, I gotta get down there and get ready to become a superstar, you know? So I moved to Georgia like a week later and just spent like a month and a half just checking out the town.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Spending my 500 out in the bars,
Yeah,
chasing
yeah,
women, like thinking like I'm the fucking man, not knowing that like Bill DeMont's about to kick the fuck out of me for 2 years straight coming up. So I was living the high life for like a month.
Not knowing you would continue to spend that check that way for about 3 years.
For the rest of my life. Yeah.
So T, you're training with the 3D Academy?
Yeah, and
I didn't realize how many guys came out of there. I just listened to Devon on a podcast.
This is like a side note.
Rod
But
Terry.
how was how were they training you? Was it cool?
yeah,
Sounds cool.
Yeah,
It does.
Their
Like,
facilities
Dudley's are
I
famous, you know?
marks those guys.
Yeah.
They've been nothing but cool to me every time I've been around them. I was marks them growing up, and
Plus, they're big stars teaching you. Like, I think it's better than having, like, you know, I had, like, Larry Indy
There you
that I
go.
never even knew.
Come on,
you
give him
know
his
what I
full
mean?
name. Give him a shout.
Harry Indy,
Let's leave it there.
Big Slam.
Such a
Larry.
fan. No, not him.
No, we can
Not
we'll
him.
bury Big Slam in a different DVD. This isn't
Yeah.
fucking...
Yeah.
No, Bubba and Devon are amazing, and what's awesome is like they know their stuff and they protect the business. They want their students to come out and really knowing their stuff. I think one of the things they say is like old school rules, new school tools. So basically, keep the rules the same, but you know you just gotta
Stealing that.
you gotta adapt to
Why don't you create it, bro?
to the industry because it always changes. So
That's cool that they
yeah.
are noticing that. That's nice to hear.
New slogan for Creative Pro.
Yeah,
new
from beginning
t-shirt
to
coming
end,
out.
man.
Still waiting on my Creative Pro hat. I'm going to stop endorsing the school and people go, where do I train to be a wrestler?
I don't have hats. Anyway, keep going.
Should have hats. Flat bill, flex fit. Like these Bullet Club hats. If you can't get one online, see me.
I didn't even notice that you did that.
Yeah,
Great.
I saw it.
Unbelievable.
I saw it from Jump Street. By the way. Don't think I
From the
did
start though, he's
Unbelievable.
facing the camera and everything.
It was going to spit out beer after the match I just had that I don't have to do later today.
All right, T.
But 3D Academy, a great place, and they also have another trainer, Dan Carr, who's like in charge of their like strength and conditioning.
Is this the guy that like was related to Bubba or something? They have all these.
Yeah,
Devon
man.
told me all these stories about this guy.
Dan
He's
Carr
a
is
legend,
like
right?
he is.
I don't know anything about him. Tell me.
Dan Carr is amazing. Like this guy is from. I'm pretty sure he was a steel worker in Pittsburgh. Was nothing. It's just steel worker, and then one day he fell, and beams fell on him, and then I swear to goodness that changed his whole life because after that, I think he had a collapsed lung. Like then the guy was near death, and he was when he got out of the hospital, he was like bones, really, and then he became something of legend, legit. Like I'm pretty sure he's the reason why we had American Gladiator. Because in the steelworker deal in Pittsburgh, he created these games, which a lot of the games that American Gladiator is based off of came from the stuff he did. And I think he actually helped produce the show or helped invent the show. Something happened.
Interesting.
But he used to be that. He did that. He was a hell of an arm wrestling champion.
Stuff of legend.
He was a pimp. I swear to goodness. He was. He showed us the pictures and his.
Jack of all trades.
Where is he?
He's down in Florida. I swear to goodness.
We learned from his
So he's
tutelage.
still, to this day a part of the 3D Academy?
Yeah, to this day, and I swear, I think my best legit core work is from him, and like the way he looks right now, you can tell he's lived a life. But if you were to challenge his strength, my God,
Still a bad motherfucker.
he's a badass, man. He's a badass. But that whole facility, Bubba, Devon, Dan, amazing, just an amazing group right there, and they take their time, gentlemen, and very business minded, and teach you that too while you're there. It's just to help you, so you can understand that you're not going to be in that business forever, ever. So they try to help you.
Still haven't figured that one out.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, freaking. My brother and I did Tom and I did a tryout in November of 2008, and that was set up by Ricky Santana. Ricky Santana's real good friends with Johnny Ace, and we got that. We had only been training for like a year, and we had done like maybe 4 matches as a tag team, and then
these two.
Yeah. And we did a tryout. I think
second generation. I just fucking. I fucking stepped in.
You showed up in your Kevin Nash shirt and you fucking signed him up. Sign me up, daddy. What's up, big sexy? Now you're always watching these developmental dudes.
Real big fan.
Couple bottles of wine. High spots.
I wish he was here right now, just sitting in.
A little bit of vino.
Yeah, we should have that one day. Come back. We did a tryout. I had a match with Trent Beretta.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
Man.
Marshulo?
Wait. So your tryout was at FCW, not on the road.
Yeah, it was at FCW. I had a match with Trent Beretta one of our last days there. At this time, we had Dr. Tom, Steve Kerr, Norman Smiley's there, Dusty's there.
They fired me to make room for him. That was exactly
like a seamless.
Yeah. It was like a month. It was like a month.
Yeah.
Thanks, T.
Sorry.
Well, now you're both sitting here, so.
Yeah.
It happens to all of us. I got fired. Punk had a new heater 3 days later. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, I started working for FCW like February 4th. I'm not sure when the paperwork happened because.
So what happened to Tama?
Huh?
Yeah.
So that we found out that I was hired and he was not hired by Ricky. We at the time we were both working at a dealership for our dad who ran the service department, and we were both washing cars over there just so we could train. But at the same time, we lived in this rundown apartment in Lake Mary, Florida, and right off Lake Mary Boulevard, and great times. We had no money. Like our parents, they didn't care. They're like, if you want to live this life, you're gonna have to learn what it's like. And we're like,
awesome.
What? All right. So, sure enough, man, we were like sharing cable with our neighbor upstairs, sharing food. Like the only money we spent was for alcohol.
True wrestler spirit.
Alcohol on the weekends, even like the weekdays. And then,
Yeah, I was about to say weekends.
Weekends, my ass.
and then just to make sure we paid rent, and then like luckily like at the dealership we would have barbecues on the weekends, so that was like mainly like our main source of food during that weekend.
Jeez.
And then during the week, and then like Sundays our mom would cook, so we would drive all the way home just to eat that food. But during the week, man, we were just scrounging like enough to pay for the. Oh no, actually we didn't have to pay for the gym because the
imagine
place.
the Dudleys are pretty pricey. Like you're getting top knowledge.
No, we did have to
it's
pay.
not Joe Schmo showing you the ropes. You're getting the fucking Dudley.
No, they gave us a deal just because of Dad. But
And also,
what I'm talking about
his
with
dad would
weightlifting
just
gym.
beat their ass too.
No. Dad would never do that. But we were fortunate enough that they cut us a deal, and but we still paid, which was awesome. But what I was saying is we didn't have to pay for like the gym because it came like we had a deal. Apparently, our dealership had a deal with it's LA Fitness now, Family Fitness. So we just used the shit out of that, and then we would just whatever we could find as far as food went was hilarious.
Did Dreamer hire you, or like who called you?
That was like Nova.
Nova?
Yeah, that was Ty
no,
Bailey at
Ty
that time.
Ty Bailey's at the time. So when we got
Tis biz.
Yeah.
Biz.
it was Johnny Ace who told Ricky that I was hired. Tom was, and then so
What went into that? You have no idea.
Bailey probably told Tama because
No.
Ace would always throw that on to Ty Bailey.
it came to Ricky because Ricky Santana.
They made Ricky do the fucking dirty work, of course.
Well, why?
No, they said it was something that had to do with the promo and his size. They said he was too small.
Wow, man.
And they
Did
didn't
he look different than he does now?
Well, how old are you guys at this time?
I think we were like 24.
And then Tom ended up going to Japan shortly after you went to Developmental, right?
No, he went to Puerto Rico.
He went to Puerto Rico
Yeah,
first.
first.
Oh, okay.
He went to Puerto Rico, and I started in Tampa. But before then, like I was over in Texas finishing college ball, and he was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
And we had both. I stayed on to do graduate assistant work, and it was just bullshit. But I realized I didn't want to be there, so we both. I told him in 2004. It was like middle of the night. I was just telling someone. earlier, but like middle of the night, I just wake up. I call Tama and I said, "Hey man, we're gonna be professional wrestlers." And he said, "You promise?" But he didn't say anything for like about 30 seconds to a minute. And I was like, "Are you there?" And he goes, "Do you promise?" I said, "I swear to God." And he said, "All right, when we get home, we're gonna be professional wrestlers."
Had you guys talked about it since then or before that?
No.
Oh.
Not at all.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just, when you're growing up, our parents didn't want us to do it, so.
It happens. I feel like that happens a lot, huh?
Yeah.
With second generation guys.
They just wanted, because of who our dad was, in the ring and, on the road. At home, he was cool, but on the road, apparently, he's like the Chuck Norris of.
Badass. Yeah. That is a.
So, I was going to Haku cheers on that one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Throw it up for Haku, guys.
That's great.
Haku's still a bad motherfucker, dude.
You just beat the shit out of my two students, and
they
they loved it. I loved it.
He just beat up my friend. My friend drove 14 hours to work my show just so he could wrestle him, and I knew that Haku was his guy. And I don't know why this is a sidebar story, but in the middle of the match, like, we're supposed to go home, and Haku just grabbed him and said, Jake told me that I was looking in the ring. I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" And he said, Haku goes, "Let me show you something from the old school." And Jake's like 295 pounds, and he just picked him straight up and jumped up there and fucking pound drove him on his head. And I was like, "Oh, that was fucking awesome."
Something from the old school.
Let me show you something from the old school.
But I think it's awesome that your dad, like, made you go through those, like, trial and, like, didn't give you any, because at that time, at least when I was there was a lot of second generation guys getting, hired, nonstop. If you were a football player or a second generation guy, you were getting
That's
easy
what I heard.
access.
Yeah, I heard about a couple football guys who just got in.
And so I liked it. Yeah, I mean, and they would.
You had to really
That was cool. Yeah, your dad
not to,
said, "Okay, you got to see how this works."
And so I just liked that your dad was like, "Hey, man, if you want to do this, do it like we used to do."
So, was there like you guys had that intimate phone call, and then are you upset when it's you and not him? Isn't that?
Yeah,
there's got to be something there.
Yeah,
where...
so we were pulled into Ricky's office. Ricky's like one of the managers at the time, and he had his own office, and he pulled us in, and it's him and our dad, and we're like, "All right, what's up?" And both of us, we both got this horrible farmer's tan. We're like dark. We're purple from washing cars outside all the time. So we're sitting there sweaty. He's like, "All right, got good news, you got bad news." It's like, whatever. He was, "T, you got hired." All right, cool.
That sucks.
Yeah,
and then he goes, and then he goes,
shitty.
It's almost the same as
it's similar to. I was about to say it's similar to me.
Like an amazing moment with this little.
Yeah, and here's the side note.
But that's, that's.
And he's like,
man.
And he told Tama, he's like, unfortunately, you weren't. And even though we share this story, like, we're both in this room. I don't know if when we're being told this, like, I don't know if Bate would say anything now, but the dude burst into tears, and it hurt. Because, we're coming in, we came in together, and the goal is to do this together.
Phone call and something like that. That's so
Yeah, and even like as I tell you the guys right now, like I can't get as emotional. Brad, what you went through is amazing and crazy. I just know like it sucked.
Yeah.
Because he's like legit. He's sitting here, I'm here, and like maybe just a little bit more is Ricky behind the desk, and then our dad standing behind him.
That's fucking.
But the thing is, we would be in tears if that call would have been different for all of us.
Sure.
The fact that he's not in here with us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I would have been in tears if I'd have got that call.
Because we sat there
and he almost probably feel bad feeling good about it for you.
Yeah.
Because here's your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like our dad. Oh man. So yeah, boom, that happens, and then our dad trying to be, or being the father, trying to be, I don't know, focused or heads up on this. He goes, "Look, you guys right now are in a tough situation." He goes, "But you guys need to make money. So this is what we're going to do. He's going to go to Tampa, and we're going to send you somewhere." And Butter's like, he's still reeling over this deal, and we all both are. And so we're like, okay, we'll figure it out. So within that week, we find out that they're making plans to send him to Puerto Rico, and then he's there for 6 months. And what's crazy is I was there actually when they set him up to go to Japan. I went with Dad to meet Hattori.
Yeah.
And we were the Okata, and we sat somewhere at some sushi bar, and they set it up. So after 6 months, he was in Puerto Rico. He was up for like a week or so, and then they sent him straight to Japan.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. He's like a new school guy, but he had like a real old school break-in, huh?
Yeah.
I guess the next round I want to get into is like getting acclimated and stuff. You know, you got to move. I think for someone like you who's already been wrestling 7 years,
You talking about a finish, or you got to pack up your house? Legit question.
packing up, leaving, you know, where you're comfortable. Someone like you, you've been wrestling 7 years. Now you're training every day, doing fucking forward rolls.
Someone like me wrestling 20.
Well, I think, like, I was green and I knew it, so like. I jumped into it at first. I'm like, okay, this is what I got to do. Like, take all these fucking bumps.
Yeah,
but I don't know him anyway.
Me too, but
like
he's
like,
different than probably all of us because you weren't green. I went there and they were like, you don't know how to wrestle. And I was like, yes, I do.
but also, even if you know how to, and nowadays I guess somebody told me you have to wait a month. You have to sit and watch them a month before you can
finally.
Well, now they like wear helmets and shit too. Is that not real?
That's the McGurk rule.
No, it's
the what?
The McGurk rule.
What's the McGurk rule?
Mike McGurk's kid.
I met him when I came
Max
there in 09.
FCW,
Mike McGurk, by the way, is a girl.
Yeah, Mike McGurk.
I know who Mike McGurk
Yeah,
is.
we all do. Hello.
He was in
couple tissues behind the belt
FCW
on you,
in
Mike.
like 09, and he seriously got knocked out wrestling 3 times a week, twice a week, like between practice and shows.
Sounds like he's got a soft head.
So then they sent a bunch of fucking helmets, like soft, like American
boxing
Gladiator and
helmet,
boxing
yeah,
helmets.
like-
I mean, they were there's a
Could've used a
wall of
couple of
those that we were
those.
supposed to use them, and if you were new, you had to train in them and stuff. Like, we called them McGurk helmets, and then he got fired because he was terrible, you know. And then like we're all stuck
The
with
helmets,
this rule.
the helmets did not get fired though.
Yeah, it's like
Then I remember we had some kind of meeting where they had like charts were like, well, this is how often people are getting knocked out on the road, and it was like 7%. They're like,
Yeah.
down here, 38%. We're like, it's just one fucking guy. This is bullshit.
This guy gets knocked out all the time.
But you remember there was like one match that Trent had it with him and he got knocked out. It was just crazy. It was just it happened. It was like
I
the
remember
weirdest
getting
thing.
knocked out so much. I remember a bunch of
Hey,
different
look.
ones. I remember one where Tarver just gave him an arm wringer and wanted him to take a front bump. And he went boom, and he spiked himself on his head. Then I remember another one where he shot a guy in. Oh, God.
What?
Sorry, guys.
Team said
this
he
is
wanted
kind of
beer.
our
I don't
thing.
know. That was the second
I remember another
He was
McGurk
talking.
one where he shot a guy in and it was a hang-on drop kick. So McGurk's throwing the drop kick and he just drop kicks himself on his head. Like he throws drop kick and he
I'm
comes
gonna
up and
stop
he's like his
laughing
arms
because
are
I'm
like-
gonna get knocked the fuck
I know.
out today.
We already
You
wrestled.
mean tomorrow in our
Man, it
our
was a
double
wrestling
shot?
match.
I
Richmond,
really do
Richmond
feel
Roanoke.
that it was just so unfair because it was only him and it was happening so often. It was like ridiculous.
See, we had a different chart in Tampa where it was like DUIs per month.
Oh yeah, you're
And
a
it was
different
man,
era.
green iguana.
Yeah.
Ooh, boys
Great
and girls.
Great.
Ace finally
facility.
came down and was like, guys, stop it,
Enough with the DUIs.
please. All right, what was the question?
Like, just how did you deal with that? Like, you know,
The
you-
DUIs?
I mean, it was
Lawyer.
okay. Didn't drive for a while. What?
No, like wrestling 7 years and now you got to go, you know,
Well, it was
act like you don't know shit.
It was
and-
5 at the time I got hired,
Humbling,
but
I
still, yeah, it was. Well, I mean, not even when I actually reported, it wasn't like my head was. I mean, I was still reeling from.
Right from your.
Yeah, I reported like probably 2 weeks. I went back and did one indie show in North Carolina, kind of said my goodbyes and stuff. And
Everybody's gotta have their send off.
Oh,
yeah, kind
Zach and I
of,
got hoisted on shoulders. We did a year.
kinda- kind of poured my heart out.
Took up
CWF
my
Mid
hood.
Atlantic, thank you for that. Thank you for that send off. But yeah, I reported. It was right before Christmas break. I did one show, and then we were back at home for Christmas. But so yeah, it was. I mean, the training didn't bother me at that point. I don't think it was like as rigorous as Deep South. I heard.
Well, you're a Deep South origin now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is legit.
like,
but
I got there a year later and it was insane.
Let me tell you how it was back in my day, kid.
And the original guys would tell me like, this is toned down from what we were doing. And I'm talking what we were doing was fucking insane, like insane.
Listen, we went through the 7 levels of hell before Cabana and Pierce thought of it.
What a shitty plug.
there's a High Spots DVD, I think.
Yeah, I
Is
think
it?
so too.
No. Oh.
I
But no.
mean, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was awesome because once again we go back to our dream is wrestling. So even if it's bull in the
That's
ring,
how I felt,
even if
yeah.
it's bull in the ring for fucking
Or mud
2
wrestling.
hours. Well, you guys did some That's some questionable tactics.
He's cut off. He's starting to get everyone off track.
Stop it. The only thing that would be different than like any wrestling would be the fact that it's 150 degrees in a warehouse in Florida.
When did like all the? Well, I only went to FCW when it was a nice kind of building. When did all that like work get done?
That work got done around.
Yeah, I mean it was like
before our tryout. They were telling us
it was
we
like
had just shown up.
Late
08. Yeah.
Okay.
Second I got out of there, they were like, "We're gonna make this place awesome." But yeah, that was. I mean, it was. It had turned into like a really nice building and stuff, like nothing like they've got now. But then again, none of our programs are like what they've got now.
Creative Pro,
which that's a whole other ball game we can get to. Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't anything like that. Bull in the Ring was. I mean,
what's Bull in the Ring?
Just one spot going in. That was kind of a blow up type deal.
What?
Like one spot, you would have to do one spot to all the guys in the corner.
Oh, I called it Dr. Tom drill.
Well, Dr. Tom was applying it at that
Dr.
time,
Tom
so
drill,
yeah. It's tough to call it that when all the drills were Dr. Tom drills at that
You're in
point.
the middle and you do a spot with this guy in the corner and that guy. It's the same thing. But you're different rounds.
The thing that would be
Blows you the
weird
fuck up.
would be like if we had a Tuesday. We normally had like Tuesday shows, Friday, Saturday. So we would get like a card for the Tuesday on Monday, and then we would like kind of practice, like rehearse it, which was super weird.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, but you're not used to that at all.
No, but with guys like, I mean, I'm not going to mention any names or anything, but guys that came straight into developmental, that was awesome for them.
Yeah, I would have needed it. Yeah.
The coolest thing they did, and Dr. Tom did this, which was awesome, but they would give us that card on a Thursday, and we would like once a month we would I think wrestle like St. Pete Armory or something like that. It was like a boys and girls club, like 100, 200 people, and he would give you a card to go over, and then right before bell time, rip it up. And he would post a blank sheet of paper.
We've run over a couple of those.
And
I did one of those.
And he would just come to the back and just go,
that
10 minutes.
Is on the crowd because they're getting.
Oh yeah, they're getting dunked on. But yeah.
They got me and Percy Watson in a dance off one night because we were just staring at each other like, holy shit. Yeah, but
there's nothing wrong with a good dance off. Wish you could see that.
So tell us about the origins of Deep South. How? Well, I mean, the backstory is that OVW was WWE's Developmental for years, kind of like a. That's where I dreamed of going.
We all did. I used to look up the OVW website and look at the new guys because you didn't know that like they were just
compare them
guys,
to you.
You know what I mean? And be like, oh, this Ron H2 Waterman's got it. You know what I mean? Like,
which he did.
I remember being a big mark for like Jeter and Cage, and then seeing my buddies, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, these guys are cool, and so am I. Well, when we got there, like I said, I was one of the first ones there, and I was there from the first day to the last day. So like when we showed up, and the ring wasn't even there yet. So, like the facility was being built in like a fucking plaza, and our building was getting finished, and it had dirt floors in it, and of course no air conditioning, and we had no ring. So DeMott was like, okay, we couldn't get in there because like,
running to Atlanta
the construction standards or whatever. So Bill goes, look, we got a month until we officially start, but for those of you who really want it, all of you,
everyone.
We're going to start doing some preliminary workouts at Gold's Gym. So I was like, work out at the gym all the time. I got this, you know. And then we showed up, and like, Bill was really good at. He's a great motivator. I'm not going to bury Bill in this too, because I'm a Bill advocate kind of. But
You're the only one left.
I know. He would like start it. He was so good at like the layers. Hell, he'd start out and be like,
I always
guys.
say Mikey Whipwreck was my wrestling trainer. Bill was my wrestling coach.
Yeah, he was my wrestling and life coach for a few years.
Should have listened to him more. I think.
I know. He would be like, get on the elliptical for 10 minutes and just do it on level 5. Get yourself warmed up. And I mean, just remember thinking like when I was starting, like. And then you walk into the room and we do stretching, and I'm like, this is gonna be fine. We're probably gonna go into some lockups. And the next thing out of his mouth is like fucking 500 squats. 500 Hindu squats, which I know you've all heard about the 500 Hindu squats, but
try it. It's horrible.
Try being 6'7", and Bill putting his hand down fucking 6 inches off the ground. If my ass didn't hit it, I had to start over because he hated me from the beginning because I was the shittiest one.
But Bill hates him.
But
weird. Does Bill?
Well, no, Bill didn't hate me.
He
ended up loving me because I won him over.
It's tough love.
I won him over because I wouldn't
He does hate people and he treats them like shit. But he could like love you to death and treat you like shit, but he like loves you. It's this weird tough love.
But anyway, it was fucking rigorous. And then the ring showed up. So we were all like, thank God. The ring's here.
He's like,
We're going to wrestle.
get in there and then do 500.
So,
How many guys? Is 13 guys?
Yeah, there was
On the top rope.
12 guys and Angel.
Yeah, maybe.
Angel Williams.
I might be able to fucking remember him. I just saw a picture of it. It was the Shane twins. It was me, Mike Knox, Derek Nykirk,
Ryback.
Tony Santarelli,
No. Was it Ryback?
Mike Taylor, Ryback, Nick Mitchell, Mitch of the Spirit Squad,
Take a hell of a super kick.
Angel Williams, Angelina Love.
Only girl. That's so unfair, man. That's
The
just
Miz got added, but not like in the initial training. A guy named Jack Bull from Arizona. That's fucking Ryan O'Reilly, who's now
Connor of the
Connor
Ascension.
of the Ascension. Man, what
Melissa
a
Coates.
long ride.
Holy shit.
No,
Yeah.
she was never under contract.
I know.
Whatever, yeah.
She was the bag lady. And anyway, so that was the original group. So then we go in there, and same thing you guys are saying, there's no air conditioning, and it was a dirt floor. So we put the ring up the first day, and then it's Atlanta in the summer. So there's no air conditioning, and it's just a building with fucking glass windows with the sun coming in, and it's closed.
Like you wouldn't even. I don't know. In my head, I picture OVW being this like palace and stuff, and it's like an industrial area, which is, I guess, now would be expected. But Deep South was in like a shopping center. Like a shopping center was like a home,
you didn't know
home
like,
goods or something.
Next
was,
door,
like,
they were selling crafts. They didn't know about what was going on behind that glass.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So then, like, I remember Bill would after like the first week of training, because it was all blow up drills and bumping. It was like 4 hours a day, 5 hours, 6 hours, depending on how he felt about it. But he would get mad and make us bring. Everybody had to bring 4 shirts every day. And we would change the canvases between the drills because we were sweating so much and bumping so much that the canvas, you would take a bump and the water would just splash up into the air. And it was all sweat.
And that's just staff galore.
Yeah, so we changed the canvas, change shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Change the canvas, change shirts. All fucking day, man. And I mean, it was intense. But I always say this. I couldn't go through it again, but I appreciate the fact that I did because I appreciate everything I've ever attained from wrestling because everything that I have and own now is because of it.
Yeah, of
and if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't appreciate it. But it was
And there's a lot of people that didn't.
really fucking hard. The hardest thing I've ever
You
done.
didn't Elijah Burke walk
So
in and
big-
watch
yeah.
practice and go, nope. Like, leave.
Buddy, we had
Yeah.
so many
Cash
guys.
do that? Yeah.
We had a ton of
They
guys.
told him to move for
do
OVW.
that
He went
that
watch one.
ended up leaving and whatever.
Well, I remember Inferno telling me, like,
Inferno came late, though.
he came, but when he came, he said he did the warm up and he thought it was the whole practice. He was like, all right, that was great. And then, because he's so spent, like, it was insane. And he's like, no, that was the warm up, dude. We have
Yeah,
like
we
a
got
4 hour
like 4
practice.
more hours, yeah.
Like, what?
And
Holy
what
shit.
happened to me, I was the greenest
Yeah.
guy there, so once they started seeing us do the wrestling and doing the wrestling drills, like, I thought because I'd done 3 years of these independents that I knew what I was doing, but I was never really formally trained. I just fucking lied my way through it and got on all these shows because I was a big dude. It's literally what I did. And so Jody Hamilton told Bill DeMott, Hankinson can't be on the TV. He's too green, he sucks. So make him quit. So the plan was this is true. Jody and Bill both told me that.
That's a harsh laugh
Yeah, I
right
know,
there.
Yeah, I know, he loves it. Of course. The guy who got signed a week in. So they said, let's make him
Like,
quit.
let's sign one of Rip Wreck's boys.
So then Bill made like what he called, I'm not going to say what he called it. We'll call it developmentally challenged practice. And it was for those of us who were developmentally challenged. And it was like Palmer Cannon, he was one of the originals. He was with me.
You guys had to wear helmets, but different helmets.
He was uncoordinated. Yeah, we were licking the windows when the practice was going.
Came in a different bus.
We came in the bus for
So this
sure.
is like a practice after a practice?
Yes.
Ay.
So we would go through this hellacious practice. Then we would practice again. And there'd be like, depending on who had fucked up the most that week, but always this guy for practice 2. Squats again, blow up drills again, wrestling Bill after you're so blown. Like, and I was like, I'm going to fucking die, but I can't quit. This is my dream. Like, I cannot.
So put you on the spot here. Ryback always told me that when he got there with you, like, you were like Bambi, like with new legs, and he just didn't know how they worked. Like he said, that's what he said. You reminded him.
That's something for him to say because he
I'm
was
sure he
also
was
in the
real-
practice.
I know, he was
and
gotch,
this
too,
is all I
but,
remember
yeah.
about Ryback. Like, breathe, pal. You're gonna die. Seriously. I love you. You're gonna fucking die if you don't start breathing.
I mean, it had to be insane. Because when I got there a year later, you guys said it was toned down.
So that's how I got the freaking deacon gimmick, because they were like, we got to cover this guy up until he learns some shit. You know what I mean? Because I was 21 and the rest of them are 30-year-old men. Like
the hair still?
Mike Knox was a fucking amazing like pro wrestler already, who'd been to Japan, Mexico, Puerto Rico. Like,
I was in awe a lot.
These
When
guys,
I got there, I was in awe.
These guys could fucking work, and I was just like, uh-oh. So I painted my face and got the hair and the spider, and we covered it up until I
don't remember you
out.
ever having a match, like a TV match, longer than 3 minutes.
No, it was being protected. That's what it was.
Like the whole time?
Still hasn't.
Yeah, I don't have matches now.
Jesus Christ.
But then I won him over, because they were like, Jesus Christ, no matter what we do, he won't quit.
Which is
so
awesome.
Then, like, I got the gimmick or whatever, and that's how it was. But there's so many funny stories that I remember of just seeing guys come in. Like, there's this guy that came from California once. You were probably already there. But his big thing, like, everybody had an angle, because it was out on the internet. The Deep South was hard. It sucked. Like, you're going to get tortured, which it wasn't torture, per se, but maybe a little punishment.
It was over the top.
It was over the top, and it was intense. But again, I'm not, whatever. But the guy came in, and he walks right up to Bill, and he goes, the man called Sting said to tell you hello. And you know Bill's like this. Yeah. And we were like, oh, shit! Oh! So then he's like,
this guy have a tryout?
Man in the middle! So the man called Sting.
Yeah,
the man called Sting.
I hope it's Jeff Farmer, too, for the record.
I was thinking about Jeff Farmer in the car today for some reason. Because I want to have Jeff Farmer versus the Imposter Kane. But anyway.
NWO Sting.
Yeah. So, fuck, I lost my train of thought. But
the guy, California guy.
So Danny Farmer, fucking, he goes in the back, like, before Bill calls man in the middle. So he makes him squat and everything. But Danny
this guy
Farmer,
is on a tryout.
he comes in, he's got on the
Is
black...
he here for a tryout, or is he already
Yes,
signed?
he's here for a tryout. We've never seen him before. He's got on the Sting pants. Like, we're all in, like, you know, Reebok shorts and wrestling boots and no shirts. And he's got on, like, the pants with the Sting pads and a pair of Sting boots. And Bill's just like... Shit. And then, like, so we do the warm-up, and then we start doing man in the middle, and he gets him in the middle. And there's no real funny end to the story. It was just like, we knew
that guy was tortured.
We knew it was coming. And
he didn't get
But
signed.
then the guy was like, he thought he was going to fucking... show Bill up, which Bill was like, you're not in my house, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always used to say in those situations, like, you would get really blown up and you would do like a man in the middle type thing. It would be like, okay, I say I'm in. Okay, Brad, give Drew 5 vertical suplexes. I would take him. Then Hawkins, give Drew 5 fucking hip tosses.
Yeah.
Give Drew 5 body slams. Give Drew. So this all happens to the guy. Then at the end, he's got to shoot wrestle Bill.
Yeah.
So you'd be like,
to the point where like your limbs aren't
you think
working,
you're gonna
like,
die,
you got
and then I would
nothing,
always
and then
be
you
like,
have to
and Bill's
shoot,
like
fight, build them
350
up.
pounds.
Yeah.
He's still
sitting there.
He's still
Yeah.
strong as an ox, and it was like trying to fight a really smart bear, because like you had nothing left, and you'd like try to grab his wrist, and you'd be like, yeah, and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die.
like lay on you, and, like grind
lay
you
on
up and
you.
torture you.
Lay on your back, put his
torture you.
chin in your neck,
Yeah.
and you're just like, if I do die.
The
This
man
would be an
called
interesting way to go out.
the man called Sting would be pissed.
Yeah.
So the man called Sting was there for a week tryout, and he was a 1 day in, 1 day out. And we saw so many of those because, like, you know, the squats and there were always people puking. One day a guy shit himself, which was awesome.
Yeah, I remember I had a banana for breakfast one time, and then we started, and it's just so much, and I puked, and I was like, holy fuck, I can't eat breakfast now.
You
like,
can't even eat
that's what I'm saying,
a
like,
banana.
hold a banana
I
down.
remember
It
a
was
story
that-
just
it
like
was
that. I said,
intense.
Bill, I can't eat breakfast, man, because I get sick. And he goes, eat a Pop-Tart. But, like, I was a disciple of DeMont's. I'm 21, so I was like...
I would have. Bill told me to rob a bank.
crushing
Zach and I
Pop-Tarts.
went
Every
to it.
morning
They were
I'd
so
wake
green
up and I'd
it
be
was
like, all right,
yeah.
blueberry's my favorite.
Holy
2 Pop-Tarts, let's wrestle for 8 hours.
Breakfast of champions. Yeah.
Spears used to kill me in FCW because he would come in with McDonald's.
Oh, he's
and he's fucking
Yeah.
he's still
Ah,
jacked.
yeah.
Ty
Shredded,
Dillinger,
yeah.
you're the man.
Yeah,
you're
he's-
one of the best
he's
workers I've ever been in the ring
Yeah.
with. But Jesus Christ, I was like, how do you even do that? And I ate a little speck of hash browns. It's like,
He was in OVW
Not
every
me,
day,
yeah.
just crushing McDonald's
God
breakfast. We're
bless.
sitting there like hungover at tape review. Like, fuck.
man.
How'd you get adjusted?
Well, it wasn't too bad.
What? It's an hour drive.
Well, not like I actually got to. What was weird was like, I was told by Laurinaitis that I was gonna get my paperwork to go, like to sign this contract. So he gave me Ty Bailey's number. So they just call Ty, whatever.
Useful information.
It did not happen. Like, I waited for a while to get the contract, so I was like, shit. So I get my contract the day before we have to go to Pittsburgh.
Okay, that's interesting because you're the only one of that era
Yeah.
who had to do that. Which is clearance before WWE decided, okay, we can't be just signing these guys.
I had to. I went to New York to do it.
Oh, so you did?
Yeah,
too?
yeah, yeah.
Man,
but it
you
wasn't.
said-
It wasn't. That's maroon, right?
Yeah.
I call it the Ace Steel rule.
I've been called by Dr. Black before, but it wasn't for a prelim hiring situation.
I call it the Ace Steel rule because Ace Steel is the man. I love him to death.
Yeah, he's
I'm
awesome.
Philly. But this is a true story. So he came.
It's not burying if it's true.
not burying him because it's true. He came to Deep South. He did one practice. He went for like a springboard and dropped one. Ah! But he came with like a blown ACL and like immediately.
What
got
a worker!
surgery.
I
So
love
yeah,
it.
no, it's amazing.
That's awesome.
In retrospect,
Pomco.
sick move. Great job, but I think WWE finally scratched their head and went,
Pomco,
okay, we can't be doing this anymore. Like, it would be worth it to spend the money on to get them checked out rather than pay for all these surgeries when these guys are coming in all fucked up.
Pomco. I still use Pomco. They don't allow it.
So that's what. So like
still
we
worked,
didn't do that.
I
I guess I didn't realize you were in New York and now it's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
right?
it's been picked. And I went with Bray Wyatt. We
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah. So I had to do all my paperwork the day before they would let me go on to go see to go to Pittsburgh. When I saw Bray, we talked and he was like, "Yeah, man, I got my contract about 2 weeks ago," and they just told me I was like, "Dude, I got mine yesterday." And then so when it come to find out, like they're gonna help me with the move, and nothing came after. Like I was like, "Hey, Ty, hey, what's up?" Never got a call, and then finally, like, I got a call 2 weeks after Pittsburgh, and they're like, "Why aren't you in Tampa?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I would love to get to Tampa and find a spot, but." Ty said he was gonna send some money.
Where's the
to help me get
motherfucking
there.
money?
Yeah, like to help me get down there, and they're like, "Oh, well, get there, and we'll send it." And I was like,
Where are the brothers staying these days?
"Yeah, like I just didn't get any information."
We got
So
a motor
They
lodge
still
or
at the
something?
Econo Lodge off 81.
yeah, but luckily, like our dad, he has a great family friend, Al Rosen. I went to his place, and he just put me up, and I stayed with him for about six months or so.
Wow, that long.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just
Thanks for sending the moving money, Time.
yeah, bro, it took him forever.
Surprised you didn't say with Joe Gomez. Joe Desperado.
Wow.
He is the
You housed a
underground
lot of the
boss,
boys.
You also tagged with Renegade.
Thank you, sir.
I love watching old nitros and I see Joe. I'm like,
Me
wow,
too. Yeah, Joe's the man.
Especially when you know him now.
he's a Tampa legend.
Underground boss.
So what I was thinking about on the way
He is the
here
underground boss
last
of
night
Tampa.
was all the guests that come through to Developmental, which is pretty unreal sometimes, like the laundry
a good
list
one.
of them. Or even like when guys come down from the office and stuff. Like I don't know if you remember this. Slaughter came one time. He watched an entire like 6-hour practice. Didn't say a word.
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Didn't say a word. And we're like, okay. And I'm thinking like, oh, thanks, Sarge. What the fuck? Like, nothing. No feedback. Nothing. So we come in the next day.
He's a brother. He wanted a payday.
No, he comes in the next day, and he went home that night and had made an entire card because he analyzed everything he saw, knew everyone's name, everything. Made an entire card, like from top to bottom. He goes, "This is a card I made last night. I want to see this happen." And we performed this card for him the next day. So
Fucking
instead of go
fantasy
practice,
That's great.
So it wound up being the
That's
funnest
what
thing
I
ever.
would want to do. Yeah.
Then I want to say the main event was Brad J and Eric Escobar. Probably a barn burner, I'm sure.
Developmental stars, though.
Yeah, developmental stuff.
Developmental legends.
Yeah, but
Developmental HOFs.
whenever their finish goes down, 1, 2, 3, Sarge stands up and he goes, "The Raw general manager has restarted this matchup and it's now no disqualification." And they're starting to like beat each other with chairs.
That's awesome.
And all the boys in the stands watching, like going crazy. And it wound up being like one of the most fun days ever. But I did not see it coming because he was so bizarre the first day. Like, but he was paying attention.
That sounds awesome.
One of my favorite agents ever that I loved. So I'm not gonna say his name. Not that anyone's gonna watch it, but
Well, if you're giving recognition, why can't you say his name?
because I'm gonna.
He's about to say. We're about to.
He got hired. They're
Brother
like,
story.
this is his first day as an agent, right? So like, he just come from his other job. He'd been out of the wrestling scene for a while. So like, he comes in. I'm like thinking like I'm excited to meet this guy and see him and get his feedback. Like, really respect his work. And he came in and he went. He sat down with, I'm not even lying, 2 foot-long subs. And he just sat in the back for 4 hours while Bill trained us. With look, if the ring's here, he was like this.
Holy shit.
And then about 2 hours into it, he just got up and went. Walked out the fucking door. And then the next time I saw him, I was called up, and he was like an agent for my match. It was awesome.
Is he still there?
Yes.
Really?
Interesting.
I don't even have a guess on that one. Do you have any
couple
story
of guesses.
about your favorites?
Man, did they even have guests back in Deep South other than that?
Yeah, we had people come.
We had many.
But
many
who?
people.
Because
yeah,
it's
shit. Like I remember.
I just
Dean
remember
coming down
because they would
to
be
practice.
different.
Dean Malenko
My
came down.
Simon Dean, yeah.
my
No,
favorite.
Dean Malenko came down to fucking. Yeah.
Jesus Christ! My favorite fucking guest story, like FCW opens. Everybody who's not called up or getting called up immediately goes there. Jesse and Festus, Kofi Kingston, Angelina Love, Hawkins and Ryder go to OVW, right?
Switch Brad out for Kofi, and you're right.
Kofi, okay, sorry.
Kofi went to FCW. We all went to
Fucking
OVW.
anyway.
Yeah. Kofi was there when I got there.
Yeah, there you go.
Not detrimental to the story, but hello, Kofi.
Also amazing.
Kofi is the man.
He's the man. So Dr. Death Steve Williams comes down.
Ooh.
Okay, and he was not as friendly as I had hoped.
Colt, what last DVD? You haven't
I
seen?
already know
Colt
about
went.
that.
Colt's not an angry guy. He went
Ape shit.
off about how much he hated the Dr. Death experience.
This story's pretty fucking funny too. It's serious, but it's funny. So like Dr. Death had written
These
a
are
wrestling
two
book.
completely different meetings. Because Cole was in OVW, correct?
No, but that's
This
what
was
he's
in
talking
OVW.
about.
I was there at the same time. I was
yeah.
there with Colt.
Okay.
Cabana was already. He
It's
just
sort of
got
like
hired.
Cabana
by
had just
WWE.
showed up, and we had just got sent there.
So like,
Oh,
we all
okay.
became buddies at
Yeah.
the same time. So we were all experiencing this together. But long story long.
Wait, is it gonna be real? I really gotta take a piss. I'm
Go
so
ahead,
sorry.
man.
Go ahead.
I really want to hear this because who's that? Tyrus had told me part of that Dr. Death story too.
Oh, I guess he was Dr. Death. We did
We have
meet
to
him
use
first in
Tyrus
Deep
now?
South.
We can't
Yeah.
use George?
He was like
George was there.
he was like I said, Dr. Death would come in for like a week, and then you wouldn't see him for a month, and he come in like he was doing just little guest things. We
So-
did meet him first in Deep South,
But
but in
anyway,
OVW he was there like all the time.
In the meantime, Dr. Death had written a pro wrestling book, and I love pro wrestling books. I still read them, which we all do. So I got the book, and I'm not going to lie, God rest his soul, a little disappointed. A lot of football,
Not enough stories.
little wrestling,
Jesus talk.
a lot of Jesus talk, which is fine. I believe in Jesus.
I'm just saying.
Keep it out of your
When you're
wrestling
looking
book.
at when you want a wrestling book,
I want a wrestling book.
I could do without
So, okay, I buy the book with my own money,
I'm not a fan of Sean.
which is important to the story. I buy the book with my own money and read it and think it sucks. And then Dr. Death comes down and goes, I got a book I wrote, and you guys got to read it. And he hands out like 30 books that I'm sure he made WWE pay for.
it. Yeah,
And
I'm pretty. Mike Bucci.
So you're pissed you got a free
Mike
one.
Bucci bought them with like a budget,
course,
and
but-
handed them out.
yeah.
yeah.
So you have a week to read the book, and then you hand the book back in. So of course I don't read the fucking book. I know everything that was in it. I read it on the shitter fucking in an hour.
Yeah.
So we come back in. They hand out a quiz. So like
Oh.
I get 10 out of 10 on the quiz. And I look over, Jesse, the other half of the J&F Express, the biscuit and gravy train. Jesse and Festus.
Miracle Violence connection. Like he should have some kind of.
Ray Gordy.
Yeah, some kind of.
Who has some sort of
Gordy,
Yeah,
son of Terry Gordy, former partner of Dr. Death Steve Williams,
some kind of
takes his test
connection there, you
as
know?
I'm finishing my quiz, and I know I got all the questions fucking right to. Ray's like this. And he just wrote Ray Gordy on the top of it and didn't answer any of the questions. So I was like, something's a little fishy here, guys. So we hand in our quizzes, and he's like, right? And you know Gordo, he had a temper. I love him. I miss him.
It's the best.
But he had a temper, and so like we're working 7 days a week at this point because we do like Saturday house show, Sunday house show, Monday off there house show, so maybe not 7. TV, then back OVW TV house shows 7 days a week. So we go immediately to a loop after this happens.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
Okay.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Zach and I, you must have missed the weekend or something.
Right.
Because we weren't there for this. There's going to be a quiz and the books and nothing, so we got out of this. So we were
Maybe
on the road.
we were
so
off
you
the
must
house
have had
shows
like
or
one
something.
off, and you
'Cause
got
we were always-
shit luck and got stuck in this situation.
Okay, so
Yeah.
whatever happened, like we think everything's hunky dory with our fucking big Fed run coming up, and we're doing like house shows and I think vignettes at TV. So we come to TV and we walk in and we're our usual happy-go-lucky dumbass selves, glad handing everybody, and we see Johnny and go, "Hey John, how you doing?" He goes, "You two in my fucking office right now," and I was like, "Goddamn quiz."
You knew?
It's got to be the quiz.
You knew? Like,
well, we hadn't done anything wrong. We're trying to.
that's hard to believe.
Maybe I didn't.
All right, I'm surprised your mind-
Let me tell this
your
story.
mind-
Who's driving this
You
truck
could've
right
been
now?
racing from anything else, but you knew that it was that fucking quiz.
Well, maybe I did.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I find that hard to believe. That's all. Knowing you.
Anyway, We go into the office, and he's like, "Who in the fuck do you two motherfuckers think you are?" And that's a pretty open-ended question. I'm like, well, obviously, I'm Festus, and he's Jess. So we're like,
He wears the yellow singlet because he likes yellow.
we got to tell that story. So
This is gonna go on
So
for
he's
6 hours for the
going,
record. Let's just do
he's
this.
going nuts. And he goes, I bring in, wait a minute, you guys think you're so fucking good? Your work is so good, you can't listen to a legend. And I'm like, this is not going good, you know? And he goes, I give you a book written by a guy who in Japan was doing 20-minute finishes. The whole 9 yards, okay? You don't even fucking care to fucking read it, and then you both hand in a blank quiz. You both don't read it. You both disrespect him. And I went, I swear to God, I didn't know what to do, right? And I don't want to throw my partner in the bus. So I went like this. Literally. And he goes, Drew, what? And I went, with all due respect, I bought the book with my own money. It was $20 because I want him to know. And I read the book, and I got an A on the quiz. I got a 10 out of 10. But I said, but I think my partner, maybe, I don't want to speak on his behalf, so I'd like to excuse him, but I think maybe he has a personal issue. And he goes, oh, I didn't know that. Sorry, Drew. You're excused. Ray? So I get up and go out, but I go out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Jay goes, Ray, what the fucking fuck? And Ray goes, John, fuck Dr. Death. And I was like, oh, no. He said, fuck Dr. Death, bro. And I know Johnny and Dr. Death are boys.
Yeah.
It was
That's
fuck
how Doc got the
Dr. Death. He goes, Dr. Death was my fucking dad's partner in Japan, and he fucking died. My dad fucking died, and he owed my mama money, and he never fucking paid her, so I fuck him. I hope he fucking died. And I was like, and then it goes quiet, and Johnny goes, oh, well, Ray, I didn't realize that. You're excused. I hope you boys have a good day. And Ray walks out, and I was just like this in the hallway. Ray goes, come on, boy, let's go to catering. I'm like, don't you think we should fucking talk about this? You just cussed out our boss. There's a better way to handle it, man. God damn.
But that all stems from, like, bullshit drama that goes down in developmental. Like, you guys had to experience, like, some of the crazy shit and just, like, getting in trouble for dumb shit like that.
I did the quiz. I'm still hot about it.
If we're still talking guests though, and FCW had some really good ones. Jim Ross, I remember, was really actually fantastic.
Yo,
not one of my favorite guests.
Okay, all right. Well, different time.
Tell your story.
You guys can bury anybody you want to.
I didn't bury Jim Ross.
I'm burying him. I can just say what
Wrestle
I can say.
Kingdom, Daddy.
He talked just about, like, everybody comes down and talks about, like, wrestling stuff. He just talked about, like, money stuff, which was shit that like we said, $500 a week.
Give me some money.
And he was like, pay your taxes and he was talking about how, like, he wrote Austin fucking $1 million a month checks and stuff like that, and he paid his taxes, so why shouldn't we?
Because he had $1 million a month.
Exactly. But just stuff like that people that came down and talked about stuff that wasn't always talked about.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about the scariest thing.
Oh, yeah, these are the good ones.
First off, Bruce Pritchard always came the day after Christmas vacation. Always, because we would just get everybody would just get so fucked up and just eating gravy and stuff. No offense about the gravy thing.
Biscuits
but But we would always show up, and then all of a sudden it'd be, hey, there's Bruce Pritchard.
Like 12 gimmicks ago, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Pritchard wasn't eating any gravy.
You guys got to do like 25-minute matches and stuff like that. But I'll never forget. I don't remember anything about being hungover, but I was hungover, and which was so uncommon in Tampa.
Yeah,
so let me say that. But we had to do matches in the arena, which didn't happen often. But it was Taker and Michelle McCool were visiting that day, and I'd never even met him.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy shit. And I was like, I hadn't shaved my chest. I was like drunk. I didn't want to take my shirt off. Hungover, I'm sorry.
Does that mean you were drunk yesterday?
Kind of like today and then the match.
Anyway.
But no, it was, and then they just called me in McIntyre, which McIntyre is still to this day the stiffest guy I've ever worked. I love you.
He's intense.
Amazing worker. You punch harder than any fucking person I've ever met. And your working punch is fucking harder than your shit punch, brother.
Situation. I used to hate when Taker.
Just seeing fucking Taker and them just like sitting there.
Taker would come out and watch like practice matches during the day, and like we'd be in there, And it's like, even if he's there thinking this is awesome, this is the shits, the guys would be so wanting to kiss his ass and be like, and everyone's leaning in and saying something. I was like, fuck, this is just a lose
total
situation.
For
it sucks, man.
Meanwhile, he
so
could
unfair.
give a shit less what anybody's whispering in his
saying,
ear.
It's
But
just all guys being brown nosers and shit. It's a shitty situation.
Yeah.
which that was all over developmental, but that's another.
My rebuttal to the Jim Ross thing and actually Bruce Pritchard, they're
Yes.
they're 1 and 2. They came to developmental.
Shield
like,
yourself from this burial.
They came like every 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
maybe.
swear to you, if you recorded what they said, and then it was word for word the same thing, and I'm like, there's maybe like 6 new guys here. What like?
I gotta get that thing off my BlackBerry.
like how? Like it was word for word the same speech. So I'm like, how fast do you think guys are just being recycled in and out of here, dude? Like,
Well, in my defense, when you're only there a year, you only hear it one
Okay,
time.
there you go.
So fuck.
Dude,
JR,
I
you had a.
I had
JR
Bruce Pritchard's speech in my fucking head. He's like, Rocky Maivia, the nation of domination was made as a vehicle
D'Lo Brown
to get D'Lo Brown over. Rocky said, fuck it, I'm taking it. And that's how it started. And he goes, this is how, like...
Brother Love, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
but like... Dude,
Come on, brother.
I'm just saying. Put a
We
little
were there
more
for
effort.
JR's never. He did one money talk with us one time, but then he did another.
20 Gria
Well, I
was
wasn't
the
there
money
for that
talk
long.
guy.
So.
Save your money.
Well, Gurria was
your
just the one that
fucking
paid you the money. He never,
yeah, but that's,
he never came down
he was,
to.
It was weird that he was the money guy because
the
he
fucking-
only cared about saving money and stuff, which
If
I
I
probably
still-
should have listened.
If I was still doing extra work,
What kind of draw do you want, Drew?
Yeah, I know. The draws I hear are gone now. I remember when they got rid of the draw, and I was like,
Yeah, we were active in that.
What's the point?
Yeah.
What am I going to tell my wife when I'm spending my real money? She doesn't know about this whole draw situation.
Draw thing.
Yeah.
She just sees a check.
Yeah.
That's right. This
She doesn't know I
expenses on
spent
the
$200
road.
a night buying shots.
God, that's you want to talk
See,
about that story?
Was there anybody you
Jesus.
remember coming down that you enjoyed?
That I enjoyed.
In FSW, we got more like hands-on guys coming through, like where we got in the ring and like did shit with them too.
There's before Joey became a coach, man. I enjoyed Joey Mercury was an amazing person and just a mind for the game.
Man, I remember one time Edge was like coming back from some injury, and I spent a whole afternoon just rolling around with Edge, Tyson Kidd, and Joey Mercury, and I'm thinking to myself like,
I might have been there that early.
I'm never ever gonna be in the ring.
That's-
with people this
Edge-
good.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I did-
that like
we
this
did it.
fundamentally sound
Yeah.
like awesome people. It'll probably never happen.
We
again
did
in
it
my
with Benoit, like before.
life. I missed all
Yeah,
that.
like
He didn't really
there
come.
were 4 of us. It was me, MVP, Knox, and somebody else. And he was coming back from injury, and we worked out with him. Like we would do the practice, and we'd come back in the evening, and fucking wrestle Chris Benoit. It was just
that's
like,
pretty crazy.
what the fuck?
See, that's cooler than guess. When people come back from injury,
Yeah.
and you're seeing those
Yeah,
guys.
they get to work.
And they're
That's-
in there
That
trying
happens
to
a lot
work
now
out
at
the
the performance
kinks.
center.
Yeah.
It's a more
Like-
common thing.
Like
Yeah.
Brad Armstrong, I remember being one of my all-time favorites. I always thought he was just this awesome. I mean, Brad Armstrong was a fucking
Underutilized.
phenomenal
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
worker, but like Brad Armstrong wasn't like the kind of coach that would go like, "Hey Hawkins, your foot needs to be like this." He'd be like, "Hey, get in here,"
Yeah.
and then you end up working Brad Armstrong for 10
Yeah.
minutes. And you're just like, "This is fucking awesome!" Like he can work with his eyes closed. He doesn't have to call it. Like he just wrestling just came out of him, and that was the
worker,
shit
man.
they needed
Just a
more
worker,
of.
that's
I
all,
always
yeah.
thought because like,
Here's a carpenter.
Yeah, the people that would get in there and teach you as opposed to just yelling at you from there.
of course.
But
Yeah,
Edge,
that's a
Edge
total
probably gave
difference.
me, some of the best advice. When you were talking about going to take your tests, when I got sent the stuff, this was even before I reported, but I got sent to take a test, and I just read my itinerary, and it was flying at like 6 a.m., fly back at like 8 p.m., so it was just a one-day deal, but it said shared limo with Adam Copeland, and I was like, oh, okay, this is too much for me, I believe.
Yeah.
And I just remember, and it was like, and it was the guy who was holding the sign, and it had my name, and I was just like, what, with him? And I was just like,
Yeah, that's
Should ask me
everything.
any Grey Poupon.
and I was just talking over stuff with him. He was coming back from, I think, one of those injuries where I think he showed up at Survivor Series and did something where he won 1 million belts or something, which he should win every belt
of
because
course.
he's the fucking man.
That reminds me, an extra story that I forgot about. This is fucking not to step on your story, but I was an extra and I was nervous, and it was one of like the 2 or 3 times I ever did it. So like they didn't have a lot of extras that day, and I of course went in the wrong locker room. So like they put me in like a closet just because they thought I was an asshole, which you never know
They've
that
done
at the
that,
time.
yeah, quite a
So
few
I was like
times.
sitting in this closet across from Male Talent by myself, just happy because I don't know that I'm being an asshole.
Because you're there.
Put my
You're
boots
happy to
on.
be there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Edge walks in, and I'm like, and this was in the middle of like the Edge Matt Hardy Lita thing.
So you're awkward because you don't know how real it is, or
No, I'm just like, I'm not awkward because like I've been in this room for hours. I'm just hanging out.
You're upset. He stepped on your toes.
No. This is the story. So like Edge walks in, but he had been thrown out of the male talent locker room because of the stuff, or had chosen to leave on his own recognizance, whatever.
Yeah.
Because of the Matt Hardy, Lita, whatever, and he just came in and like that was when I knew he's just the coolest dude, even though he was like so awesome. He just was like, "Hey, I'm Adam." I'm like, "I'm Drew," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not allowed to sit in there anymore because this whole girl thing, you know." And, so anyway, where are you from? And I'm just like hanging out with Edge, and then he's over, and they're going over like his promo and his match. And it's just me and him because I don't know where the other extras are even dressing, and I'm not allowed to mail. So I was just like, Edge is my boy now. And I remember like we were leaving. I'm like, "See you, Adam."
That's funny. I remember
next week, yeah.
The one
no, not for me, but you for sure.
You're definitely gonna be here.
You're definitely booked. I think I saw the sheet.
Time that Zach and I were extras, we were putting like the same little. It was basically
One
a
and
closet.
only.
It was a closet. So it was a memorable day. But anyway, at one point, it was a little closet, but it was right next to where the Seamsters were, and I guess they just made something. It might have been Rick.
Are you saying Seamsters because Rick Michaels was
Rick
there?
was there for sure. But he just made something for Trish, or whoever made Trish something. She got it, and she turned into the room. She's like, "Oh, do you guys mind?" She was just me and Zach sitting there. She walks in. She goes, "Do you mind if I try these on?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever you want."
Yeah,
And we're
Trish
just
Stratus, take your clothes off.
and we're just sitting there. She goes, "Leave." And we're like, so fucking embarrassing. And then,
Zach slides his hand into his shorts.
and then,
Go ahead.
Hawkins lights a cigarette.
And then later that day, or either maybe before, but the same situation, like Cena came in and he sat there and he had like a phoner because his album was just dropping, that first album, like that his theme song is now. He did the whole like phoner interview, like talking about it. And I don't know, we were just sitting there like, oh, this is fucking awkward, but cool too, you know.
Yeah.
But it was normally just a curtain. It was just.
That's like every arena is different. Sometimes you get the curtain fake, room, and then sometimes you
threw
get
something over like an
there's
old
some,
bathroom.
I don't know if you remember, like there's some. I want to say it's like Phoenix or somewhere out there. It's like you get a room with like a big leather couch and like a TV.
Yeah,
and
the
like,
one good. It's on the West Coast. The one good extra. Yeah.
There's a couple gems, a couple diamonds in the rough. But now the guys, it's kind of weird. Like when we started, I remember Zach and I had to go to Benoit and ask him if we had permission to change in the locker room. And now guys just come. It's not even a thing. It just disappeared.
That whole thing.
It disappeared though.
I just looked for extra talent. I was like,
quickly though, and they just let us in.
I don't know. I remember we had like good 3 months though. And I remember Zach and I had to go to Benoit and say, "Hey, excuse me, Mr. Benoit, like, we've been up here for a while. We were just hoping, and we'd really like to, change,
that was a whole
in the locker room."
thing too.
He was kicked out. At
Oh
that time,
yeah.
I
remember that time.
He was kicked out, and then Benoit died, and he didn't know how to get back in.
He changed with me quite a few times. That was a little.
I'm just saying that's funny that Miz was SOL.
I'll just never forget one. Okay.
Moving on.
I walked in one time.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
I walked in one time because there wasn't an extra talent sign, and when that happens, my mind just explodes because I don't know where to go.
That's scary. Yeah.
And so I just walk in, and Bob
Raise
Holly's got Rene Dupree by the shirt, and I just go
punching him in the face.
and I just fucking walk out, and I was like, I'm just gonna fucking change in catering.
You know what?
I was like, I'm out of here.
I'll just change out the street. I'm cool.
Good times. Are we?
I have little cliff notes I made myself. But T, did you have a favorite guest?
If anything, because I was in there when they moved to the PC.
Yeah.
And they had actually the head coach for the Olympic wrestling team visit and actually work with us.
Oh, really?
What did he do?
Wow, that's awesome.
He was just there, to check out the facility. I think someone had invited him, and then he was just, we had to sit down and talk with him, and he was just talking about what he did with his amateur wrestlers, Olympic wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
See, when they do shit like that, I think it's really cool. Like, some people shit on this, some people think it's cool, but I remember I was on the road, and they actually came and did DDP yoga when he first started. But I
remember that.
But I was just thinking,
the office got hot about that. They were pissed. That it was like a wasted day.
Maybe, but I just think
we did it with him.
Yeah,
they actually took time
it's
and
cool
actually
to do
spent a whole day with
that. Cool to do different shit once in a while.
That concept's come full circle. Like when we did it in Deep South in 2007, I think the office called down and said, "What the fuck? These guys are wrestlers. Where the fucking DDP in there doing bullshit?" And now they're like, "Oh, this is great. Learn, it's healthy." The perspective is like come kind of.
Just recently, who's that? One of the Gracies, the one who's dating or
Eve's
husband.
Yeah,
Eve's husband. Sorry, they actually had a little date with him, actually, and her.
That's cool.
I mean, honestly, that was something I was going to get into. That breaks up the everyday.
The monotony.
I call it Groundhog Day because you don't even know what fucking month it is sometimes when you're in developmental because every day is the fucking same. You're just like, It's just like you don't know.
Because you get in
but
there,
things
you
like
go
that.
like, what? It's
I think
Thursday?
I.
What?
Things
I
like
wonder
that.
why the guys get drunk all the fucking time.
Seriously. Little things like that you'd
Said
appreciate.
Buddy
You
Hawkins
know?
and his cock and balls.
Yep.
But we had when they opened up the PC, there was a lot of guests and a lot of opportunity. I know when Triple H built that PC, he wanted that to be a facility.
It's
where
amazing.
They can do anything
Yeah.
and everything, and I know they had I think
Down in front.
Special Olympics to come and participate over there, and they had like a day where some of the NXT talent spent a day with quite a few of the Olympians for Special
Oh,
Olympics.
that's awesome.
And then working there, they have things going on there all the time because I think Triple H's goal was to have that PC center, a facility for everything.
It's pretty cool.
It's hard not to be jealous of that
The,
when you look back on it
Dude,
now.
if you guys could see it. It literally, if compared to like
I
where
don't
we
think
came
we're
from,
allowed.
like little, like you're saying.
What?
I
Oh,
don't
brother
believe
probably
that.
had a brother,
I swear to
brother
God,
probably had a
on the
tryout.
Bible, I did.
You went with
They won't even let
Tensai?
me within a 5 radius.
No, not telling you how.
It's I'm saying coming from a dirt floor place.
Somebody
to
who
that.
had access let me in there to look around.
I don't even know where we go from here.
Yeah, what?
Let's talk about Great Khali's moves.
Well, one of my other
Why aren't you wearing camo shorts?
topics I like to get to, like it's
nerdy.
kind of like a two-parter. It's like I guess we kind of refer to them as the developmental legends, the guys who are like,
You want to
how
talk
the
about
fuck-
the...
where you're like, how the fuck did this guy get signed? Like the the Gustavs and shit.
This is
you
gonna be
know,
a
where you're
it's gonna be a burial, I believe.
like, these guys are long gone out of wrestling. If
Listen,
they even fucking see this DVD, I'll
Gustav
be like,
was
you know.
awesome.
Gustav was
Guys like that, but then on the flip side,
Are you talking about the guy from fucking Brazil that sent in his shit?
no Germany.
I don't remember. He
Where
was-
the hell
Gustav
was
was
Gustav?
from Germany.
I wasn't in FCW,
the
but
guy
I had to
that
go for
Flair
a week
saw his stuff or
between
something and got
Festus
him
and
hired?
Luke, and Gustav was there, and I remember
Yes.
I talked him into wearing some funny vests, and Dr. Tom was loving it.
This was in Florida.
Because I don't know
think
why they
it's the
don't
same
take me as
person.
a serious wrestler.
They even got him to wear. I remember the Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster belt, the red with
Yep,
the yellow.
we're talking about the same person.
Yeah.
I know.
So there's dudes who are like, how does this
Developmental
guy?
legends.
Developmental legend. Like, how is this guy even signed? How
What
is he
about
here?
um?
And then on the flip side, there's guys who never got out, and you're like, how the fuck did they never pull a Scott TV? Like, he was so fucking good, I don't fucking get it. Last TV I said Mike Cruel because we used to write.
Mike Cruel is one of my favorite people to this day.
OVW TV was written for this guy. And he was the star of the whole fucking
Dale
thing.
Torberg, the
No.
Kiss Demon.
No, that was the power plant.
Yeah,
That was a
That was
different.
developmental.
That was
you
a
were,
different.
You were in the power plant?
Yeah.
Maybe I should do another one with power plant guys. I'll get them going.
I'll get Mike Sanders riled up.
Let's do that.
Above average, my ass. I'm
That's-
just kidding. I love you, Mike.
I know loading. I've got it in.
Yeah, fuck, we already got it in. This guy,
Man, Mike Cruel,
that come to mind.
Spears still is.
But I guess he technically got a shot on the road, but not really.
There's a lot of guys who stay there for a long time because I just
Yeah.
remember the.
We're gonna talk about those guys,
They
like
used
Waterman?
to say. I remember they used
Eugene?
to say,
Nykerk?
guys,
Yeah.
there's no more than 3 years in developmental. 1 year you don't show us something, you're out. Now, fuck, there's guys who've been there for 10. And
Curtis?
I'm not even lying.
And I think that is gonna be a staple now. I think the being there for a year is gone.
Yeah.
And it's the
They might never leave NXT and still be popular.
the 3-4 year, 5-year run is gonna be very
Bro,
common.
with the way NXT is now,
There's so,
Yeah,
so many
it's
guys.
gonna be a
so
touring
much
brand to where they
competition.
never need to leave.
How does that? How do you deal with that?
I'll stay.
They're gonna come out and take our indie book.
I'll stay. In
We were
Japan.
questioning in the last DVD Byron Saxton's sanity. He's been there so long, you know.
bro.
He's a
Yeah, but he
commentator.
swapped.
Right?
Yeah, he was there when I was there.
Either way, he's still there. You know. He's still...
Well, look at fucking
G-Rilla was
Connor.
Yeah,
fired when I was hired and rehired by the time I left.
Yeah.
Connor started the first day of Deep South with me and just got called up 6 months ago. Like, I mean, he
Yeah.
had a hiatus or whatever.
But
He
if
quit-
you look
he
at the
quit the
body of
week.
work, it's
But-
10 years.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
You were
And
like,
I mean,
He quit the week I started.
that's a lot. I don't know how
Because
this
he was
thing's
him and Chrissy were the only two people I knew from North Carolina. And when I got there, they quit that Tuesday, and I was like, awesome.
Thanks,
This
guys.
is sweet.
Appreciate it.
You know what I dug and I thought was a star? Sonny Siaki. I never understood what they didn't
I
see.
did too. No, there's one
Charisma
kid
looked good.
Bernard,
yeah, really
Bernard
told me
Championship
about him all the
Wrestling,
time.
all
Yeah, they were
star.
real tight.
Yeah, he was actually a
Wrestling-wise,
main
real
eventer
cool.
in Bernard Championship
I
Wrestling.
loved him.
Sonny
You
was
were
a
too,
Bernard
though.
top guy.
I loved big time. He looked
He's
Skipper.
awesome.
Those guys could
He used to
go
scare the
among
shit out of
the
me.
town.
Actually, Swinger and
He was also
Siaki.
so jacked. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He looked great. And he was good.
He had a little hate on him though, a little office hate.
Something, right? But
'Cause
like,
I used to sit in there and listen to all the shit because I was brothered in by then, and he'd get little, it was weird.
I remember
shot skis on him and stuff.
we were like married to him and Perez, like Zach and I, we'd be calling stuff, and we got the impression in Deep South, and especially with Jody, that they want us to work like maybe as exciting as the Rock and Roll Express did in like '85. Like they wanted like old school tag team wrestling, and we'd be trying to put this match together.
That's what I thought when
and
I
then
saw
Sonny'd
you
be
guys.
like, "Nah, fuck that. I'm from TNA. We ain't doing that shit. We doing high spot." Like we were like, me and Zach, like, "Oh shit,
fuck that. I'm
oh shit." You know, yeah.
TNA.
Like, but then it wound up being fun, you know, and like I don't know, I thought he was awesome.
Hey, he was great.
Perez is probably one of the longest standing people that because
didn't-
he worked with you and worked with me.
Yeah, and then he didn't even really.
My favorite
and
matches
didn't
was
like
him and-
amount to anything. It must have been brutal.
Him and Eddie Colon, love you. I don't even know your name now, Fernando.
Fernando or Diego.
Diego.
I don't know which one it is.
Yeah,
All that.
Primo.
What about the guys at the Gustavs?
Man,
There's so
that's
many.
all I can
No,
remember.
nobody knows him though. Like
I don't-
That's
random
what I'm saying.
football players.
That's like
Everyone's
I was
saying
gonna
it's
I was gonna
football
say
guys.
Brian Carlucci was a legend, but he was before any of you.
I think Palmer Cannon is a legend.
Are you talking about the guy from your Tough Enough tryout?
Yes.
He just wrote my school an email to come down, and Pat and I were like, I told Pat, I said,
Come down and do what?
I don't know. I think he saw Tough Enough was coming back, and
Yeah.
like had a
Retry
chance.
his thing, yeah.
And I told Pat, I said, I don't know this guy.
That
but
was
I've heard
11 fucking years ago.
I said I've heard the stories from like
He's
Drew
like
and my buddy.
44 now.
I said I'm pretty sure he's not all there. I said we should just ignore this one.
This motherfucker,
Gotta
right?
pass that
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Boogeyman says
Anyway.
think I got a shot.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I don't even. Jesus Christ.
Cruel if we're Cruel Spears.
Cabana said Jacob Duncan, just because he was 8 feet tall.
How the fuck
talking
did
about
that
people
not
that they-
become a thing?
Oh, you're talking about people that they should have done something
It's
with?
both. I'm saying
There's a two-part. Remember, he
Yeah,
said
two-part.
There's a bunch of that.
The legends, who are the ones that are like,
Oh,
how the
yeah.
fuck, how the
Yeah.
fuck did Ty Bailey go, oh, this guy's in, I call him and give him a job, where like, you work your whole life to get a job, and then there's
But that
the-
happened. God.
That happened so
Ryan
much. But
Ryan Bishop, football player
He's
for the
like,
Giants.
I met him
You lasted
shopping.
a fucking
Dude, I
month,
only
you
heard
I met
shithead.
him shopping in the mall.
wow, hey, this guy. I never say anything
I met
bad
that guy
about somebody,
shopping
but
in the
that
mall,
guy.
and I just,
Ryan Bishop and Ty Bailey, that's it. We're done.
but I know that, like, he was like so hated, right? Well, tell us right.
He just
Like,
didn't
this
give a
is-
fuck
This
about
is what
anything.
happens to developmental all the time. So football guys
when
never
you
watch
leave
wrestling
from
a day in
when
his
you go
life.
from the New York
I
Giants,
hate those.
and then they
guys.
give you they're like, oh, I'll offer a contract, $500 a week. They're like, fuck you, $2,000 a week, and they're like, okay, here you go.
And they have no respect for the business.
And then they come in and do like 3 push-ups and don't give a fuck about anything.
And they can't fucking even protect you to slam you right.
And then they
you
leave
fucking-
and they
you know
don't
what I
care
mean?
about learning anything. And no matter what, God bless Dr. Tom and Steve for even giving a shit about anybody.
Yeah, man.
so hard. It's gonna be so hard to swallow that pill and be
But
like, all right, I gotta teach.
and then that happened a couple of times, and it was just like at one point they just would rather hire football players and actors and teach them how to wrestle than hire somebody like me and try to fix their problems.
But they finally figured out that that's a fucking bad idea. It took you guys 8 years to figure out that was a bad idea, but I'm glad that they figured out.
Thank
because
God it is
Now
the
you
way it is
actually have
now.
wrestling guys in your system, and you see that
When I
wrestlers.
when
can
I got
succeed.
fired, they told me I was too indie, and now God bless, look at everybody.
Yeah, fuck.
NXT is an indie.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Do you want to
So
talk
is
about that?
Wrestlemania.
Nope.
What
We
was
just
that?
got TV.
What was that like?
What, getting fired?
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
But like never like getting to the road and getting fired. That's
Never getting anywhere.
That's what I'm saying. So like,
Boy, this guy's asking the right question.
I know, he's wrestling.
I'm getting,
We
I'm
didn't mention.
journalist.
I didn't even get a chance. You dropped Ziggler,
You're not a
or you dropped
broadcast
Punk. I didn't
journalist.
even
I
drop
see what it
Ziggler.
is.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
the
okay,
beer,
wait, well,
bro.
I mean, that,
Gets
that's
you
how
comfortable.
You're tagging with
Go to
all
the Bears, yeah!
Starts burying you.
He dropped a name. I got a text from him. It's fine. Whatever. It's cool.
All right, Drew's taking a shit. We can bury it.
This is kind of in Drew's thing where he gets called in the office for doing something bad. The first week we get back from like my first Christmas break, Dr. Tom takes me and Ziggler, who at the time Nick Nemeth, into an office. And the first time, and we'd never, like, we were kind of friends and stuff like that, but we'd never, and he was just like, you two come with me. And I was just like, oh God. He's like, did we fail a wellness policy? I was like, I don't think I did. I've just been
shit,
eating fucking
yeah.
biscuits and gravy. I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
I was like, who knows? And he was just like, sits me down. The literally only direction I'd ever gotten from anybody was at this time. So anybody that tells me that they told me to do something different, it never happened. But they just sat me down and was like, and that was my main problem from developmental is they never gave me direction. The office wanted something, the cut, and it was
now
never.
finally been taken care of, but for
Finally,
a long,
Hunter,
long time,
yes.
there was this disconnect where we were in this whole other world,
Exactly.
trying to get to this world, and there was no communication, and you don't even know how to
Like
anything worked.
I
you
truly
know?
believe that Vince had no fucking clue the entire time who I was.
no
And
fucking
never
way.
even saw anything. Nobody even saw anything. And there was stuff sent to feeds that I'm sure they just fucking skipped and would rather watch SpongeBob or something like that than watch me. But shout out to SpongeBob. I love you.
So they finally have an idea for you.
But anyway, yeah, he sits me down, and this was like a month in. And I'd been doing the Campus Legend character and stuff. Shaved brown hair, friggin' visor, all the frat boy stuff. But I was a babyface, which I'd been doing most of like on the indies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what I was comfortable with. And he was like, "The office wants to see you two together." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And I mean, Nimeth at that time had been through the Caddy, Spirit Squad, brought back and forth.
Early in his career, he went through the ringer a little
been
bit.
doing all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
when I met him, he was like, I like to fuck with my call me. He was like defeated Nick Nemeth.
Oh yeah,
like,
he was still.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, he would have the whole run.
Yeah,
he had the caddy thing that was like so quick. Into the Spirit Squad thing was this
the caddy thing,
amazing year run of like working top guys, and then whoop, nothing.
I mean, if I talked to him all the time, like if Eddie didn't pass and Chavo didn't go back to that,
who knows what
would have happened?
Right?
He could have been fired just
even
from
there. He had an amazing.
It was like Spirit Squad. He's the only one left from the Spirit Squad, and he's still down there.
When I met him, I met him in OVW when he was like in kind of purgatory doing nothing. He would wear his high school singlet from because he didn't give a fuck with the straps down, like tan line shirt.
Yeah,
he'd come out like and like just wrestle whatever he had to do, like so defeated.
Always has tan line shirt.
Yeah, and then they sent him to Tampa with you guys. So that's when.
And they were like, we want to see you guys together. Blah blah blah. They want you guys to look together. He has blonde stringy hair, and I was like, well, I'm guessing you're not changing your hair, so I guess I'll. So I went and got a $30 bleach job, and they put Taryn Terrell with us, which was awesome. She was blonde, and we all had kind of a college thing. He was, of course, like the best wrestler in Kent State history, and she was on the cover of Playboy's College Girls.
Matches.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that.
She was on the cover of Playboy's College Girls, so we had a whole little thing together. Oh yeah, yeah. I brought it to
Google, my man.
Yeah,
Google.
Brought it to Bourbon Street one time, and they blurred it out.
Brought it to
Either way, I just read it. I just read it for the article.
Of course, it's good articles. In there.
But yeah, that was it. And then, I mean, we were tag team champions twice. I mean, I was only there a year. This whole interview, these guys were there 25 years.
Well, the whole idea is just get everyone's story.
Everybody's got a different. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, you don't have to feel bad for me. It's fine.
Mine's of a lonesome nudist in the wilderness.
But yeah, the thing is, I never got a chance to do anything other than that. Mm-hmm. So I was tag team champions twice. We had good runs and stuff like that. But when
you're feeling good about
I mean, I had gotten zero anything. They didn't tell me anything. We were on top. So I was like, hey, brother, we're gonna be tag team champions forever. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be awesome. And then, of course, they have ideas to bring him up. He kept going on the road and stuff. Rob Terry every now and then, which I didn't care about. Rob Terry was our manager sometimes too.
Oh man, I remember
when the Rob Terry experiment with Dolph. Remember?
Yep, and he forgot to do a trip, and then it was done.
Poor Rob is so nice, but he was just painfully green, but he looked like an action figure.
Dude, him and Batista had that body guy eat too. I remember Batista riding him like.
He had 6 chicken breasts and 12 sweet potatoes every practice.
Dude.
And he had 3
Any guy
he had 2 Pop-Tarts. And he had 3 jugs of water.
The amount of food they ate, and so I was like, whoa.
And here's my story. We went out to a bar one time, and of course I'm having a few cocktails. I don't think Bud Light Lime was invented by then, but
Miller Chill.
I offered him a beer, and Miller Chill was horrible.
What? We used to.
It was garbage.
That was our routine.
Enchilada style beer Vesa?
Yeah. And I offered him a beer, and he said, "No shit, it will take me back 3 months of my workout." And I was just like,
not a fact.
And I took a sip, and I was like, I'm in negative land.
Yeah, I'm already back like a year and a half just right now.
He said he couldn't have one beer because it would take him back 3 months, and it blew my mind.
That's not it. That might have been just.
That's what he said.
I remember.
Either way, I believe him because he looks like
Martin
fucking.
told me that every time you drink 3 beers, it takes 10 pounds off your bench press, and I was like, my bench press is fine.
I mean, I believe him just because he looks like fucking Mr. Olympia, so and I look like me, so it's whatever. But I'm not gonna change the way I go.
So he needed to be drinking that vodka Crystal Light.
Does the firing blindside you?
Very much so.
Okay, so that's what
we were tag team.
Feeling good.
We were tag team champions. He kept going up for like tryouts and stuff like that. Or not tryouts, but like
I do
just
remember
times on the road.
Like the dark match, like almost every week.
All the time. And then when we came back for like Tuesdays and Friday shows, we would be tag team champions. So.
I feel like you got let go, and then Jesse and I worked him and Mondo in a dark, like right after that. And they were just thrown together.
They threw him in Spears too at some point, but still, he wasn't even Dolph Ziggler at the time. He became that like a couple months later. But they had plans. I think they had plans for him, and they had plans for Taryn. And then I was just kind of the scapegoat. So
you know, in that era too, it was always like the firings. I remember thinking like there'd always be ones where you go, oh, well, of course. But even on the road and in developmental, it would you'd always feel like if they fired 8 guys, there'd be 1 or 2 where you kind of be like, You know what I mean? Like a guy who was like in the middle doing something, then all of a sudden he was on TV
I
last
don't-
week. He has no job.
Yeah, the thing
You know what
the
I
thing
mean?
is, we had just filmed like the first 3 weeks of SCW TV ever, and they never got to air it because I was fired.
Oh,
So
really?
we had me and Nimitz had a great match with TJ and Harry, which is one of my favorite matches to this day, and it never saw the air.
Wow.
Only the first week, which was the week that I was fired. And it was pretty ridiculous, but but yeah, I don't know. I would love to hear the actual reasoning.
You'll never know.
Never know.
Yeah.
And I was
gonna
I was
say
engaged to a diva at the time, which we're not.
Oh, let's get
which
into
we're
that.
not going to discuss one bit.
that.
But I have a feeling that could have been a reason.
Zoinks!
I'll never forget
Which
Mike Bucci coming down to Deep South, and he pulled only the guys into a meeting, and we're like, "What the fuck's going on?" And he gave this
God, this
speech
has nothing to do
because
with me.
it was a lot of like who's, it was a lot of who's fucking who kind of thing,
What?
and he.
You need to keep it in your pants,
I don't remember.
Where?
I don't remember the whole speech, but I remember what he said. Like, you gotta be careful. You know, you're fucking banging someone now, and you think you're the fucking man, but guess what? She could get called up, start fucking Undertaker, and guess what? You're fucked. Then I was like, ooh, I never thought about it that way, and it just made me like, yeesh.
Where were you, Nova?
Yeah.
You didn't do that in FCW, did you?
I remember.
Because you really don't know. You
No.
know? And you're not thinking about it at the time because you do feel like the man.
You just
know?
think
Johnny-
it's cool when
Johnny-
you're being paid to
yeah.
wrestle, and
banging
then
hot
OVW
chicks
shuts
and, like,
down.
yeah.
OVW shuts down, so everybody
Yeah.
comes to Florida, and it's just fucking spring break,
It's
7 days a week.
ridiculous.
I mean, Tampa is.
Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden,
Yeah.
people are getting DUIs, dicks are
I
out,
had
and
to
then
move
now
down
look
there
at
because
you.
I knew I'd never meet
Yeah,
a good
DUI
girl.
with my
Never,
dick out.
Ever.
Bruh.
Kelly and Alicia Fox were 18 years old. That Johnny walked him in, showed him around the facility, escorted him out the door, then had a meeting immediately after and said, "I don't care what happens. Do not fuck them." and we were just like, they're 18. If I hear you fuck them, you're fired. And then he was like, "Have a good day." What the fuck, man?
Oh,
What a bunch of shit.
what a rule.
And then, oh man, there was another
Which never
one.
stays true because.
Ever.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, man.
I remember a certain performer who's in the mix now, like a week later, going, "Guess what I did?" He did that warning up, pal. Brother,
he's
brother me
still in
softly.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. His dick landed in the red hole.
This is what you need in this shoot.
I'm assuming you want to explain dolly duty to everyone
Why would you think that?
because you brought back a little memento.
Are we talking about firings?
No. We're talking about hirings.
Ooh.
We're talking about. Hey man, the great Khali, man.
Maybe we go gym?
Cigarette? Porno?
You talk like Yoshitadzu.
No, it's more. It's a little
I know.
different.
I think Hawkins got it better.
Yeah, I don't have a good Khali.
Someone called it Dolinguish. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
It's good. I
So
thought.
what,
No, I wasn't even going to talk about Khali duty. That's funny too. But
That's pretty crazy.
yeah. Okay.
Because it's like, okay, the whole reason I want to do this series is because this is never going to happen again. Because they finally kind of have developmental figured out, and
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a corporate thing.
what a
and
fucking shame for all you up and comers out there.
So like our generation
Missing out on a hell of a
we
party.
lived this unreal moment in time that's never going to probably repeat itself because it's
It
been
better
fixed
not.
and it's just not.
Look what it produced. Bunch of fucking halfwits.
But like,
Bunch of alcoholic misfits.
could you imagine this today? This would never happen. Oh, hey, we just reported to Deep South. Oh, by the way, we have this thing here called Dolly Duty because Khali's real name is Dalip. And you have to be in charge of him for 7 days straight. And when you get assigned this and do whatever he says. What? Yeah, that happened. And on a regular basis in Deep South, there was a thing called
Unless
Dolly
your name
Duty.
was Drew Hankinson, then you had to do it for 180 days.
That's what I mean. We did it once, and I couldn't. I was like, "Holy shit, this is unbelievable." Because he call you any time of day. Maybe we go grocery, and you got to go pick him up and his wife, take him to fucking Walmart to buy fucking groceries. Which he's fucking 9 feet tall. Everybody recognized the longest yard just came out. Everyone was recognizing like it's this big ordeal. Like it's fucking terrible, man.
His wife was very nice.
You go to the gym and come back and you go, maybe we go gym, and you just got to go back and babysit. Fucking crazy. This would never be asked of anyone, you know, like, but this was a regular thing and you thought nothing of it and you could not, like, fuck it up. Like, you had to do it, like.
I got Dolly duty and he liked me for some reason, which was a
Big
curse.
guys.
Because you could like see each other.
Yeah, but big guy, not really.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm a big
Actually,
guy,
I
but
should have big guy heat.
Jesus
So maybe,
Christ.
Yeah.
maybe.
He I had a fucking 01 hatchback Hyundai Accent, no air conditioning in Atlanta.
Sweet.
Sunroof, I hope.
No.
For him.
So we would ride in it, and he would have the seat all the way back and the seat laid all the way back, and his wife would lay in the fetal position across the back seat because it was a hatchback, but he didn't care about her. So he'd lay the seat back on her legs, and she'd be in the back like this as we go to Walmart and shit. And we would go in the stores, and like before he like, I don't know if he favored his English or he didn't know it yet or he wasn't completely accustomed. He'd be like, I need clothes.
He's
and I'd be
super
like,
intelligent. I think he does this to just get
well,
shit
he
done.
got way more like westernized by the time he found porno and cigarettes. But before that, he fucking would go like he wants to go to Walmart. And I'm like, they don't have clothes for you at Walmart. I'm like, Walmart is cheap. I'll be like, I know, but you're a goddamn movie star giant. We should probably go to the fucking big and tall, the casual male.
I took him there.
You want to wear the cutoff?
No, so we go. This happened more than once,
I took
dude.
him there, and it wasn't fucking close to McDonald's.
We'd be in fucking Walmart, and Khali would go like this. Look at the shirt, hold it up to himself. It's down to about here, and instead of handing it back to me or putting it on the rack, he would go like this. On the floor. I'm like, you can't fucking do that. Like, you're not allowed to just do whatever you want all the time. But he did.
Kind of are.
Literally whatever he wanted all the fucking time. And then, like, he lived on the 3rd floor of this complex.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So we would drive him back to the thing, his wife laying in there, groceries all over her. And this is not a lie. We'd get out of the car, and the first time we did it, we got out of the car. He bought cigarettes, and he had a little shirt pocket, and he pulled out a cigarette, and he lit the cigarette. And she grabbed a bunch of bags, grocery bags, and I grabbed a bunch of grocery bags.
He just has to say.
And he goes,
and it looks so tiny.
He goes, hey, man.
Like, doesn't even look real.
No. And I was like, no, what? And he's like,
She takes them all.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
So she's going up 1 flight, 2 flights, 3
Holy
so,
There's no elevator?
No. So like
Nah,
2
that's
trips
a
in, I'm
regular,
like,
like, apartment
I'm like,
yeah.
fuck this, man. Like, you're killing her. Like, she's pouring down sweat. It's 95 degrees. He's on smoke number 3. Like, just fucking didn't care about her at all. You know what I mean? And it was fucking insane. But then on top of that, like, then all of us, he was getting ready to work the Undertaker. So we had Khali duty at practice. So it'd be like, Khali needs to learn to do a big boot. But like, Khali, and I like Khali. This isn't just a burial, but like, he was so big.
It's unreal.
It's
and
not
he was
his
so
fault.
awkward, and they would be like, big boot. So he would have to practice shooting us off and giving us a big boot.
And
50 fucking times. He would fall down because he couldn't stand on one leg. He would miss, or he would he knocked me out twice.
This is like, you do deep cell practice, you get there at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
This insane, fucking, unreal, grueling, 500 squats, 500 push-ups.
And then you draw the lucky lottery ticket.
And then, and then it's like, you're literally sitting there like,
You didn't even draw it.
it was like
give it
one
to
day
you.
a week,
Yeah,
Collins
yeah,
comes
so
in,
golden
and
ticket.
you're sitting there shaking, and then it's like,
Well, they look at everybody and they're like,
it
oh,
was always like
eeny,
3 or 4
meeny,
guys,
fuck you, come on.
and you're like, no, and you get picked. Be back in an hour, Khali's coming in. And you got to take all his fucking.
And I remember, like, we would
offense.
start thinking we were getting somewhere with him, and one day, for whatever reason, he was in the corner, and I was supposed to be getting heat on him. I climbed up on the ropes, and I was, gouging away or something. I told him to push me. I want to push me in the chest, so I'd take a big bump for him, right? So he couldn't understand. I told him like 3 times I'm hitting him. So instead of like giving me a shove so I can take a bump, he put his hand under my chin. And this is no lie. I woke up and I was sitting in that little deep stuff locker room on the wooden bench.
Wait, you woke up?
Yeah.
After you touched your throat?
Yes.
Holy
This
shit.
is the next thing.
So I was like, and I just remember Bill kept going, I'm not mad at you. And I was like, are you mad at me? And he's like, I'm not mad at you. And I'm like, are you mad at me? He goes, you got knocked the fuck out. And I was like, oh, how? And then apparently, like, he pushed me off the thing, and then I got up and tried to clothesline him, and like, I don't know any of this.
Yeah, is that weird when wrestlers get knocked out, they keep going?
They keep wrestling.
Your body just goes, man. It's like, I know it.
Then I remember we're on the road, it's the same thing. They're getting ready, and all of us dumbasses are standing around the ring. They're like, Drew, get in there with Khali. So, like, Triple H was like, you got to sell dead for him. He's a giant. Because people were, like, taking bumps and, like, sitting up trying to sell. Because they're trying to get over, too.
Something, yeah.
And he had just yelled at somebody, and I got in, and he was giving that delicious big boot of his. And he booted me, and I felt like something on my face. And I rolled over, and Triple H was like, don't sit up, sell dead. And then another boot hit my face. And then I was just down, and I just remember
Like, great.
blood was going like this.
Oh, shit.
Great sell.
And he was like, it's blood. Hunter goes, it's blood. Get him out of the ring. It's blood. And I'm going, like, he's mad at me for sitting up, and it's fucking
Holy
like,
shit.
Stitch me up, buddy. Just whipping my ass for years.
The first thing that we did at Deep South was a Six Flags show, and it was you versus Khali. And
I'm sure it was a
they
classic.
Had me, Zach, I'm gonna say Chris Rambola, and
Should have been a body slam challenge.
Kenny Omega dressed as security guards, and we had to like peel him off of you at the end and all take the chop. And we're just so excited to be a part of the show. We've been there like 10 days, you know. And like we running, and I could not fucking believe
The
it.
chop!
Cinder block.
He didn't
like,
know how to work the chop, but his hand weighs 100 pounds.
it was like
Just goes through
it
your
was like
head.
hit with a cinder block. Yeah.
Feel your spine. Can't even take a proper bump for him. He just... Unbelievable.
I just remember this was doing extra work. I think like 06, was that when he was
That's
around
the
or
summer
something
of
like
06.
that? Yeah.
Summer of 06 is when all
That's
the...
when this push began and led to the Punjabi motherfucking prison.
The funny story is I have a knockout story and a Khali story, but different
Knockouts
people.
like
Weird!
But
TNA knockouts?
during the day, no, easy now.
Hey, watch
During the day, oh yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, sorry.
During the day, somebody puts me on helping him do his voicemail, which is the weirdest thing to ask an extra to do.
Like, what? See, this kind
But,
of shit would never
but
happen.
Khali has a cell phone
Wait,
that's
you're
the
an
size
extra?
of this. Oh yeah, this was a year before I was hired. It's the size of this in his hand. And if I was using mine, you can go ahead and check yours. See if we're.
Thanks.
And he's just like
Check
doing
out
it,
a
and
bucket.
he's doing this, and it's just like that's how big his hand was. So he was like, "Help voicemail," and I was like, "What do you want me to be like? Hey, you've reached Khali.
Yeah, what?
Fucking leave a message." It's like, what good am I
You
going to do
reached
to this?
fucking college.
It's Philippe's phone.
So
call you back.
So I was like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do, and he's just hitting the fucking thing like this, and I was like, I was like, hey, this is Delete. Please leave a message. He'll get back to you. And then I hit this thing, and I just fucking gave it to him, and I just went to catering. That night, I worked Shelton, and it was just, and this is name dropping for extra work, but
right.
Shelton Benjamin, former Intercontinental Champion the night before,
Oh, hell yeah.
really angry about his title loss. So the first spot of the match, he was supposed to slap me in the face. Well,
That sounds good.
weird thing doesn't do that. He slaps me in the temple, I crumble,
Oh, man.
and I get knocked out. So I worked the entire 6 whatever minutes it was, just remembering every spot but that. I don't know.
Actually,
It
any
was-
wrestler, or good wrestler, not McGurk, that got knocked out.
Eddie McGurk.
No,
It was
not McGurk.
it was
Who gets
supposed
knocked out, they somehow your instincts
keep going.
Somehow,
Wrestle, yeah.
it was he
body's-
it
I've seen old
was,
Trent Beretta do that a couple times.
it was
I don't
he
know how
goes
does it.
Shelton goes, who the hell are you, or something like that, because he was just in their Continental match. Now he's got to face fucking Joe Extra, which was me. Slaps me in the face. He was supposed to whip me off, Samoan drop. Slaps me, I crumble, I'm dead. He whips me off, and I just come at him like this because I don't know anything. And so he just grabs me and kills me, and then every other spot's good. So when I say, I'm kind of messed up the Samoan drop. Sorry, Shelton. My head was crumbled.
You knocked the fuck out.
But
and he did
I
it,
was
so-
dead, went through every spot of the match, came to the back. The only thing I remember is I was sitting there in my tights in the extra locker room, which was actually nice, come to think about it. It was
Yeah,
one of
see,
those
this
nice
was a little
ones.
hidden gem.
Because I had like a couch, but there was nobody else around me. And I didn't know where I was. And I was in wrestling boots and tights.
Bro, that's gotta be so weird.
But I
don't
didn't
think-
know
I've
where
never
I was.
been that knocked out at all.
And I texted my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, where are you? Where am I? And she was like, you're at a wrestling show. And I was like, holy shit.
That makes sense, but which one?
And so I was like, oh my God. And I was
scary,
just
that's
so,
scary.
and so I got dressed in my biz cash, obviously, and I come out, and then fucking Khali's there. And he goes, how did you do, what did you do with my phone? And I had no fucking clue about anything I
Oh, no,
did
pal.
5 minutes before, let alone 5 hours before.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. We'll get to Carano, somebody, seamstress, anybody. Somebody help me. My head's fucking exploding.
Like, and I said this in the last DVD, there's like such a camaraderie about being developmental because you're like in the trenches together, and like that's how we became best buds, you know, because it's just like dealing with the Groundhog Day. It's the situation of your life
This
that's
too, yeah.
never
Yeah.
going to be repeated
I get
again.
one more round of these, yes?
But at the end of the day, the coaches are a significant part of that. So,
Is this a wrap up?
like, I just adore Dr. Tom, and like you guys got to work with him a lot, and you did a little bit, but like.
I love Dr.
I love
Latham
Dr.
works with
Tom.
I
And he's
love
just, like,
Dr. Tom.
I just think he just gets it. Like
Dr.
he understands.
Tom's-
He understands what we need in that situation.
He saved my entire career, too.
Give us that story.
I actually can't, so never mind. But he did.
Oh,
and
oh,
this
okay.
Latham transition.
No.
Kutsky's
the
on
end
that
of
one.
Deep South.
Oh,
Wrestling,
like, yeah, that story. cannot
Oh,
be
okay,
told.
that one.
Story will never be told, but he did. He saved my.
Okay.
I believe it.
And to this day, he's the man, and I think he should be teaching somebody something.
And it's just such a sometimes I think it's got to be such a thankless, shitty job. Like
That's got to be horrible.
I remember when.
Not to mention when there's no communication anywhere.
I remember when Bill got fired and we didn't know who the coaches be, and for some reason Bill told us all Stevie Richards and stuff. Remember that?
Yes.
And we all thought, and then or Val Venus, and then when he was also saying that like, hey, like nobody wants to do this. It sucks. You know, like it's so thankless and shitty to be this wrestling coach. You know, so and then it was like this big unveiling, and Dr. Tom came walking in. And it was pretty cool. And we're like, and I remember being like, okay, I'm pretty sure I know he's cool. Like,
I was just thinking, what a heavenly body.
I see what you did
Nice
there.
work there.
God, that's so good.
He was the man. Is the man.
Dr. Tom, Steve. I love Steve Kern.
Kern was
too.
a
I mean,
nice
the
guy.
stories we heard, like that Steve Kern just started FCW like with his own money. It didn't even, and then now everything's. I don't know. I just heard so many different things.
Kind
and
of
just-
similar to how Deep South was Jody Hamilton's
Just to-
indie company that WWE bought into, and then I think FCW had the same origins, which is also, completely gone.
You know what's always
never again.
always fun in these situations? A little word association.
Can I tell you about a good rib though before we start?
Al Snow,
Horrible coach.
Robert Gibson. You didn't have him.
Hoot?
That works.
Fuck yeah. Who's?
That's what I'm gonna say. Always.
All right. Fuck word association.
Greatest corner man in the
You know
history
what's
of hot
good when you do
tags.
word association when you know what you're gonna say.
Greatest. I don't want you running
All right,
fucking
fuck it.
word association anywhere.
We're getting too deep into this. Let's cheers. Let's cheers to Dr. Tom being
yes.
the goddamn.
Oh,
the best.
hell yeah.
Oh,
Thanks,
yeah.
Doc.
Thank you guys. That was fun.
Thanks, guys.